And you know, like, and then it's like, okay, cool, series is done. And I was like, what do you mean?
A lot of the best guys are working for the big two. Who do I give my time and my money to?
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Panels on Pages. My name is Dalibor Zujovic, and I am the indie hype man. Today, though, we're not going to be talking about indie comics, and we're not going to be talking about indie creators. We're going to be talking about a mainstay of Marvel Comics, a major TV adaptation right now, and rumored to be in some movies. We'll talk about all that. Ironheart with our guest, Vactor of the VactorVerse. How are you doing, sir?
Excellent. You know what? This could not be a better start to my day than talking to you. Man, I am pleased and honored to be here.
Super excited to have you on, sir. It's been way too long. We
Yeah.
gotta do this more often. I'm so excited
Yes.
right now. I'm
Yes.
jazzed. This is a great day to start the day.
Yeah.
So you posted a quick like recap video of who Riri Williams is, her whole story, and then you said that her run, which I just realized is basically her only run, her
Yeah.
only solo book, which is nuts to me.
Yes.
uh that was, you said, as good as anything. Actually, you said better than anything you will find in the MCU right now. And I said that is bananas. You can't. So I had previously, I caught up on Iron Man years ago, and I read all the way through that arc, through the Riri Williams arc. Loved it, and then because she went into her own book and then into Champions, it kind of became a little too much to keep up with a lot of all
Yeah.
the other books, because I
Yes.
was just trying to like essentially follow the one through line of catching up to Iron Man, and so I only read her arc there, and I loved the character there. I loved the way she kind of. I love a character that like sort of has to bumble through being a hero. And I love that. She's
Yes.
like, it was
Yes.
like here's a suit. You
Yeah.
got to do this now. That's like your
Yes.
thing. And then she's like, oh, I'm going to start a war with Latveria.
Yes. Yes. There's so many characters that it's like it comes naturally to them and they're just automatically, the greatest. But there is something about that struggle, and it's relatable that you're not the best at everything when you first start out. And I found that in Riri. And it's kind of crazy, like you said, that she's been a character since like 2018, and we've only had one specific run for her. And this new show that's coming out, although a lot of people are already like writing it off and being like, oh, Marvel doesn't care about it because they're just dumping the whole thing on us in 2 weeks. It kind of makes me sad a little bit because to me, I may have said this to you before. I don't think there are any bad characters. I think any character can have some writer come on and just immediately say, "Hey, you never looked at this character in this way
Of
before."
course, of course.
And Riri was created by Brian Michael Bendis, and then Eve Ewing took over for that solo run. Since then, there hasn't really been a writer that's come in and been like, this is my stamp on this character. This is
Right.
this is how I feel about it. And that to me is what's keeping her from being like a household name. We saw her in Wakanda Forever, and we're
Right.
going to see her in this new show. But I just feel like the mainstream people, they don't see enough of her to kind of differentiate her from other characters. Like, oh, she's just Iron Man. She's just, the female Miles Morales. Like, there's all kind of hot takes online that people, I don't think, get the character, and then they just haven't had enough. And I thought that about Miles Morales too for a while, where it was like, okay, Bendis created him,
Right.
and then other writers have come in and put their stamp on it, and he's had time, especially with the Spider-Verse movies,
Yeah.
Miles, and the video games, like he's had time for other creators to come in and throw their sauce in, like put it in a stew and say, this is what Miles is. Riri hasn't had that yet. So it's like, I almost feel like her and Miles are very similar. They both come from Brian Michael Bendis. They both are these minority characters, and they just they need time to cook. And so I think Miles is like the success side of that so far, and Riri is, I don't want to say a failure, but she just hasn't gotten there yet to where
Yeah.
Miles is.
And I have to wonder if it's part of like because so I read this whole run last night.
Oh,
Literally
nice day.
after I sent that email, I just sat down and read the whole run. Marvel Unlimited, gotta love
Yes,
it.
yes, yes.
Read the whole run, 12 issues, and it definitely as I was getting into like 10, 11, 12, I was like, oh, this book got canceled. This book definitely got canceled because it was like the setup, which I'm gonna say it right now. We're definitely gonna be talking spoilers because I want to talk about a lot of the stuff in this book and really can't do that without spoilers. So there will be spoilers. But like her dad, you can't just drop that in the last two issues and then not pay it off like that. And like, and then it's like, okay, cool, series is done. And I was like, what do you mean? Wait, like, no, 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 I need the rest of this. So I definitely think this book got canceled. And if I'm not mistaken, the art changed. I didn't check the credits. The art changed about halfway through. Um,
Yeah,
I will say for the worse. I think the art in the first few issues, the first arc I think is super tight. The first arc, that first what's his Midnight Fire or whatever his name is that first arc is super strong. The art is tight, and it played really well. And then it got like being more episodic in the last kind of half,
yeah,
I think hurt the book. Like you still had that through line, but it very much took like a TV show approach where it's like we have like the subplot of the big story, but it was like a super, super subplot. It was like, oh, we're doing this thing, and it's like in one issue it's Miles Morales, but it's like we like mention the thing we're doing. We just like mention it. And then it's like, now we got zombies, but like, okay, it ties in, but it's like it's mostly about the zombies. And it's like
right.
we're gonna talk about this big thing for like 5 minutes. It
Yeah,
very much feels like a Law and Order kind of thing where it's like we have the thing we're doing this week, but it's like, oh yeah, like the alcoholism storyline that's like been following Stabler or whoever the hell, like
right.
it's like we're gonna like mention that, like, hey, are you still good, and like, and then we're just going back
Right.
to this episode. And I think that
Yeah.
hurt the format.
Yeah, what's crazy is something similar happened with the Miles Morales book where it was like Saladid Ahmed Amin
Uh-huh.
he was writing and they changed his costume and they changed like a whole like the artist changed and the start was so solid and it was like, man, I'm loving this book, everything that's coming out of this. And then it just like slowly petered off until it was like, oh man, let's kind of let's get this
Was
out of the
it was
way.
this
Let's
the
put
run
it.
before Cody took over?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And I was like preaching every like you gotta read this Miles Morales book. And then as it went on, I was like, oh, I didn't mention that as much as it petered down. But that was something that was like, man, if they could just keep a solid creative team on one book, like from start to finish. I almost feel like we got spoiled with Ultimate Spider-Man, the original
Yeah,
Ultimate
of
Spider-Man,
course.
where it was like Bendis and Bagley, and they set the record for, the team together.
Yeah.
We so many books today. It's like the creative teams are one and done, or like Ultimate Absolute Batman right now, where it's like, okay, there's the Nick Dragotta started it, and then okay, we got these fill-in artists, and then he's coming in and out, and then he's back, and he's off, and he's back. Like if there's some way that we could just get a solid team together for a long run and stretch, I feel like it would just be better for everybody.
I think those of us who read comics in the 90s really truly got spoiled, and I think not having consistent team for a year to 2 years
Yes.
minimum,
Yeah.
I think really hurts a book for those of our generation.
Right.
Because I think back on like X-Men, and you have Joe Mad on the book for 3 4 years. You can't get more consistent. Yeah, you've got to fill an issue every 5 or 10, maybe. But for the most part, it's Joe Mad.
Yes.
You put Carlos Pacheco on the book, rest in peace. That motherfucker did that shit for like a year and a half before anyone touched it. And I loved that run. And it's like, who do they bring in to fill in Salvador LaRocca, who at the time looked his style looked very similar to the point that
Mm.
like I went issue to issue and I was like, is this the same dude? I was like, is and that's the same thing they did with Joe, right? For Joe, they brought in Roger Cruz, who was very much patterning his art after Joe at the time, like biting whole scenes in some cases. But
Mm.
like, and it's funny because I've talked about this before, like artists who come in as like fill-in artists for people who are clearly like biting their style tend to be the ones that evolve and become the most individualized and they kind of develop their own full style. Like Roger Cruz today, you would be hard pressed to tell me you could pick him out of a lineup versus his original stuff. Because his
Yeah.
original stuff looked just like straight up Joe Madureira clone. And now
Yes.
it looks
Yes.
nothing like it.
Yeah.
And then there was
Um,
also a period of time in between where it looked completely different as well. So like he's truly evolved his style. Like Roger Cruz is like all time artist.
you know who else was like that? John Romita Jr. Like if you look at his early stuff, it's like, oh, he kind of looks like
His
almost like his
dad,
dad.
his dad,
And
and
then
that was to me. I was like, I love that. I love this. I love the style. I cannot stand his current style. I can't. It's so funny to me. Like I was talking smack, and I did an episode of the Wizards podcast. Which, if you're a fan of Wizard magazine, make sure you go check out Adam and
oh,
the crew over there. The Wizards, the podcast guide to comics. They go through the history of comics through the pages of Wizard. It's
oh,
fantastic.
nice. Okay.
But then so we talked about John Romita Jr. because I think he was coming on Spider-Man at the time or something like along those
Mhm.
lines, and I talked the biggest smack in that episode, and then like that was the week his dad died,
Oh,
and it was literally like he's like, yeah, I'm gonna put like a disclaimer, like
mm.
we didn't know.
Yeah, right.
I was
Yeah,
just like,
he's
but like
like,
I think he's got an interesting style for certain characters, and I mean he is to me like a moment artist. He can do very
yeah,
cool, interesting moments, like
yeah, the
the
splash
like
page.
yeah, Daredevil. There's Daredevil scenes of his that I think are unparalleled. There are Spider-Man scenes of his that I think are unparalleled. But like, I don't like the way he draws faces. I don't like the way he draws like regular people. I
Hmm.
just saw the cover for like the new Amazing like number 4 or whatever with the black hat on the cover, and it's like he's still drawing the same like big ass hair that he was drawing in like 1993. It just like I don't know. There's just a lack of evolution there, and he's
Mm.
falling for me. He's falling into the Liefeld category.
Yeah, yeah, I can see that. Yeah. And he's been divisive. Like there's people's opinions of him have been different for a long time. I remember when I first started getting back into comics, it was like he was one of the names that people were like holding on a pedestal, like, oh, JR, he's amazing and all this. And then like slowly as time has gone on, I've seen more and more people get off that
Yeah.
JR train. Um, but yeah, it's just interesting how styles evolve, and even with like I even think Jim Lee, there was his 90s stuff, his X-Men, and then I look at like Hush 1 versus Hush 2 and the evolution that he's taken, the path that he's gone on. I don't know if it's been the digital, like the difference between how he used to do art versus now digitally, and like there's just something there that I can't put my finger on, where I don't like his style as much now as I did originally. And like there's just small subtle things that I'm like, I can't tell a Jim Lee piece as much as I used to be able to. Like it doesn't stand out to me as much. So
I
I find that
think that
interesting.
I think with that one, with Jim Lee especially, because he really came in and defined a generation of artists.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
think that's a big factor as to why we can't tell his stuff as strongly out from everything.
Mm,
Because at the time, his stuff looked
nobody
nothing
was
like
doing
Will
it.
Say, it
Mm,
looked nothing like Joe Mad, like nobody else was doing what he was doing.
yeah, yeah.
J. Scott Campbell came in, and again, same thing. He came in as a young artist trying to like mimic him, but then
Mm,
eventually really went more into like the sexy kind of
yeah.
like really long physique and everything.
Right.
And now he just kind of like does sexy covers for Marvel, and
Yes.
I've sort of written him off as like the sexy cover
Mm.
guy, and that's fine. Whatever you do, do your thing. Get your bag. You know,
Right.
I'm never
Right.
going to stand in the way of a man's bag. Like,
Yeah.
that's not my thing. I wish he would come back and do Wildsiders. I loved that
Ooh.
book. Like
Mm.
the holographic armor stuff. That's
Yeah.
awesome. I love that shit. Like I love Cole's like sci-fi stuff. So when
Yeah.
that book fell off, like I was real salty with him at the time because I was like, what the hell? Like this is a great book. And then, but
Yeah.
like, yeah, like he's kind of gotten his niche now, and that's cool. Like, but I think for me, like as I got older and I look back on Jim Lee's career, Jim Lee has always had a very solid, consistent, good art. And I think he's had some great moments. There have been like just scenes that I think anybody else drawing them just wouldn't have been as good. But
Yes.
I think another sort of, but like kind of like the flip side of John Romita Jr., right? He's had this consistent high quality art, but I don't think he's the best artist for anything. Like I think he's
Mm.
had some
Yeah.
great moments. I mean, like that
Hmm.
the Batman cover, the Superman cover, and the Wonder Woman that he did, the like iconic on the bat,
Right.
on the eagle.
Yes. Yes.
Those are iconic covers. This can't be redone. There is a Wizard cover that he did with Alex Ross of
Ooh.
Batman and Superman, and it is like so he did the pencils, Alex Ross came in and did the paints.
Oh.
Beautiful. It's a beautiful cover. And again,
I need to look that
it's
up.
something you cannot have someone else do. Um, but like
Yeah.
I pick up even like I think his best stuff was when he was kind of playing around in the 90s. That he did
Mm.
Death Blow. He was kind of biting like Frank Miller's Sin City style. He was doing very heavy
Mm.
inks, a lot of darks, a lot of shadows. And even like during X-Men Wildcats. That was he's like playing around with some styles, playing around a little bit, a little more gritty, and I like that era because he was like having a little fun with it. He was having a little more fun as an artist, and I think later on because there's like a sort of an iconic Wolverine print he
Mm.
did. This was like in the late 90s when they were really advertising lithograph prints.
Oh.
And it was like in every wizard it was like order this Wolverine lithographs by Jim Lee, and it was like I always liked it. It's a good piece, but I never loved it. But I'm like,
Mm.
what's missing about it? And it's just there's nothing missing, it's just good. And then when he got over to DC, he did a Batman piece. Like right when he sold Wildstorm and like became part of DC, he did a Batman lithograph, and it was the same thing. I was like, it's good. Like it's not
Mm.
this like, but like comparatively, oh my goodness, what was the other artist that he was on Wildcats? Oh my goodness.
Mm.
But anyway, there was another. I can't believe he did Wild Core. That was the book that he did himself. Oh my goodness.
Is
I'm
it
t
Brett Booth?
No. Oh, it was Brett Booth did
Uh,
Wild Core. Um, no, he did Wildcats. He did the covers for like Wildcats 3.0. He did, I think, all the covers. But he did like, oh my goodness, I gotta look it up now. I gotta look it up. He did X-Men Wildcats. I think
Mm.
he did the Golden Age. Yes, he did the Golden Age. Who is the artist? Travis Charest. Travis
Ah.
Charest did a Captain American litho from that era,
Ooh.
and that is an iconic piece. Like that, it just like oozes like it's like World War II Captain. He's like standing on top of a plane. It's
Ooh.
just like it's powerful, and it's like it's not like on a technical level, it's not any like better, but it's just like the style because he has a unique style and he just the way he approaches pieces. It's just so much more iconic, and I'm like
Mm.
this. It's like the same era of style. And Travis Charest is another one that like you could tell he like patterned his stuff after Jim Lee, but then he really leaned into inks, leaned into the shading and like hatching and stuff like that. So like the style, I love an artist who develops their style and like really evolves over time.
Yeah.
Somebody I was just thinking about this because we're talking about John Romita Jr. because he did Spider-Man. Uh, Ed McGuinness did Spider-Man recently, and you go back to. Public Enemy's Ed McGuinness, which was kind of like the first introduction
Mm.
for most
Yeah.
people. Before that, he was on Superman. He did a Superman book for a long time. And his style, he did Deadpool first. So
Oh,
you go
okay.
back all the way to like the 90s Deadpool run.
Mm.
And it's like big, bulky. There's like it's like a very specific style. It's almost like a blend of like a Salvador LaRocca and John Romita Jr. because he had like a lot of
Yeah.
kind of blocky arms, blocky, but like big and like bold. But now you look at him on Spider-Man, and it's still like characters are still bigger, but
Hmm.
like he's streamlined. He's like he's more efficient with his line work. And that's to me, as a process junkie, with a whole other shelf of just art books and stuff, as a process junkie, I love an evolution of a style.
Mm.
That's why to my dying day, I will shit on and hate on Rob Liefeld because he actively chose to not evolve his style.
Mm.
And I can't stand that. I can't stand that.
I wonder, there's also probably something to the ones who stuck to art as their main source versus,
Oh yeah.
okay, I'm going to start a company, I'm going to go do this, this, and this. And I even actually saw Jim Lee talking in an interview recently, and he was like, yeah, when I went back to Hush, I had to like retrain myself and I had to, do 7 hours a day on the art board versus what he was doing before. And it was like I had to that muscle memory. I had to like retrain myself. And that's something that I'm not even thinking about. Like, oh, Jim Lee, he's an artist. Like he just draws. And it's like, oh no, he gotta like refine his craft because he hadn't been doing it for a while. So I'm sure those people that have those other side things or they're a CEO or they're a head of
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
then the art starts to fall. But the guys who have focused on it for 30 years, like, yeah, that you can see that evolution in that style. I'm with you 100%.
In some cases, I will say I'm like a fanboy, so the lack of evolution is like less important to me because I'm like Joe Mad. If I'm being out, although even I will say he has evolved a little bit. He's gotten a little more, I would say a little more into anime. Because so back
Oh.
in the 90s, folks listening, folks watching, there used to be a thing called fusion style. And that was
Yeah.
by far my absolute favorite style of art. Roger Cruz is that, Joe Mad is that. A lot of artists took essentially it was Western art, but with anime influence, manga influence. And that's why we got these like characters with big muscles, big arms, big eyes, like expressive big eyes, and we got dope looks like Joe Mad's whole career. And but even he over the last few years has gotten more streamlined. Like you look at Marvel team up that he did with Spider-Man, uh that Spider-Man versus like his 90s Spider-Man is different. He's leaner.
Yeah.
He's smaller. Actually, he's a lot smaller. The Spider Joe Mad Spider Man in the 90s was like a 7'5" dude. Like there's an issue of X Men. There's an issue of Uncanny X Men like during Operation Zero Tolerance where Spider Man ends up going up against some Prime Sentinels, and he's like Peter Parker at first, and he jumps off and changes costume, and there's a scene where
Oh.
he's like right at the top of the page and he's the whole half of the page, but like he feels massive. Like he looks like he's just like the squat, the jump. It like it's a Spider-Man jump. It's not like it's like out of pose or whatever, but just all the proportions are enormous. Like his legs are long, like he's huge. And I'm like, I kind of love this era. Like,
Yeah. I I I think I've seen that too, like in some of the McGinnis Peter Parker too, where it was like he's it's got that signature style, but yeah, like it's streamlined. Like it's not there's no things there's no exaggerations. Like it's just like this is the meat and potatoes, like this is Peter Parker, and that style, like you said, is kind of like redefining who he was in the 90s to a 2020 audience, and he's still got that, like his pen is still sharp. Like
yeah,
that is the way that I or his brush maybe is still sharp. I like that, thinking about the evolution and the the differences in art styles is very interesting to me.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why to go back to our topic of conversation. uh the first couple issues are done by Kevin Libranda and Luciano Vecchio. And then the last few issues are done by just Luciano Vecchio. And I think
Hmm.
that's the main difference. Because Kevin's art is much it's just a little bit more like polished and like it's got some more corners is the way I can say it. It's like it's a little more sharp as opposed to Vecchio's art, who is and he's done like a lot of the Pride specials, and like his style is very, it's a soft style. There's just no way around it. Like that's the only way I can describe it. There's a softness to his art. There's a softness to his lines, his facial forms and everything. Like I think Riri in the first few issues looks just like a little more commanding. She looks kind of the part. And in the last few issues, it turns into more of like, I don't want to say she looks like a kid. I mean, she is a kid,
Yeah,
obviously, but
yeah,
like she looks more like a kid. So it's like it takes you out a little bit of the situation of like she's like trying to be a
right,
superhero. Because
right.
at the end of that first arc where she stands up in her new space, and she's got this new kind of command center, and that moment I'm like, all right, cool, like we're about to start
Yes,
some shit, because that
yeah,
really felt like we're about to start some shit, we're about to and then
yeah.
it even that facility became a background player and like barely used, and like she had like the kids, which was I was assuming it was going to be like a network of informants and all this stuff, and they just disappeared for the rest of the book after the first 5 issues. So like it I think, I don't know, because the writing I think is the same throughout, because
Yeah,
it's
it's all e-viewing.
so I don't know what, like I get I get when different writers come on and like you lose characters and you lose stuff. I get that. Like I've seen that so many times. My favorite example is to shit on Rob Liefeld, because he did during New 52, he did Deathstroke, and in the first half of the book, I forget who wrote it, but they established that he doesn't reveal his weaknesses. Like that's his whole thing. He never, like it's all like internal dialogue, and he never says anything, right? And then literally like the second page of Rob Liefeld writing it, it's like, well, you may have done that, like you may have found this weakness of mine. I'm like, we just spent 7 issues saying he doesn't reveal his weaknesses. So like I get it when a different writer comes on and like you lose parts of the plot, and I think that's what happened for me, at least, with like the was it the Batgirl of Burnside, that
Oh,
like
right, right.
literally the issue previous ends with her being like, I'm not going anywhere, we're gonna be friends. Her friend is I believe trans, and she's like, I'm gonna be here for you. Don't worry about it. Like I'm gonna protect you. The literal first page of the next issue is her leaving. You'll be fine. You'll be fine.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. I wonder sometimes, like with these big, the big two, Marvel and DC, how much of the restraint comes from the higher ups versus, like in the indie world, it's like you can tell whatever you want, you can do whatever you want with your characters, and with Marvel and Disney and then DC and Warner Brothers, it's like there's so many higher ups like that you have to account for, especially when a character is in a movie or a TV show. They have a toy line, like there's so many um cooks in the kitchen, and they're like, no, you got to do this because we got to appeal to all these quadrants, and we got to make sure that everybody wants this character or this whatever. And you start messing with the original artist's intent of, this is the story I'm telling, and
Right.
this is how I want to do it. Cutting runs short, because, oh, maybe the sales weren't up there or whatever it is. It's like, man, I wonder how many great stories that we would have gotten if they hadn't been cut off, if we
Oh,
if we hadn't
100%.
had to do these corporate mandates. But man, yeah, it's always interesting going back and forth between, I love the big two, but I also love creator owned. I love when they control the IP, they control their art and what they want to say. And it's like I go back and forth between a lot of the best guys are working for the big two,
Of
but
course.
then it's like I want to support both sides of it, and I'm almost torn between who do I give my time and my money to. It's like my both. So I'm always trying to balance that
Right.
um, in comics. So
100%. I completely agree, man. And I think that's, it also happens in TV, right? We have shows that are canceled way
yeah,
too early.
100%.
A producer or director wants to like do a certain thing and they set up certain plot lines, and then all of a sudden, nope, we're canceling it.
Yeah.
And I think
Yes.
my cousin brought this up, and I think this at some point this needs to make its way. This concept needs to make its way into TV for sure, but for comics, I think it's even more important. We need to have, if you're going to jump on a book, if someone's going to give you the reins, hey, do a run of this character. My favorite example is Photon. I always want to call her Captain Marvel, but I had to remember the name of the book because Monica Rambeau is my Captain Marvel. She was Captain Marvel when I started reading comics, so that's who my first thought is Captain Marvel, Monica Rambeau. So yeah, when they did the Photon book, they announced it as an ongoing series. They said it. It was in all of the solicitation, and then all of a sudden, oh, it's 3 of 5. Because after like 2 issues, now it's solicited as 3 of 5, 4 of 5, and I'm like, wait, I thought this was an ongoing series. What happened with that? And Scarlet Witch almost had the same thing happen, but they like
Oh wow.
because they started to say it was, well, they solicited it and it was like through 6, and then there wasn't a
Mm.
solicitation for the next one, and I was like, oh, okay, so they've canceled it without saying they're canceling it. But then like it showed up, and I think it ran like 9. Like I don't think it ran a full 12, but then it also like went into Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, which like you could have just done that on the book. Like I don't know,
Yeah.
but it's like
Right.
this obsession with relaunching. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know, man. If I ever got a hold of Marvel, I'd be like, we're going to Legacy. Everything's Legacy. Yeah,
Yes.
you want to do a
Yes.
new issue of you want to do a new issue of like some like obscure, like you want to do a Sleepwalker series. Yeah, you're on issue 14. You're starting at issue 14. We're counting
Yes.
all of them. Shut up.
Yeah.
Like,
That's the image model. And it's like, I don't, man, I'd have to look at their sales numbers. Like there's got to be some specific reason that they're like the renumbering works. Like it
oh,
gets people's attention.
it's the speculator market. It's back so heavily
Man.
again, and I hated it back then. I hated it in the 90s so much. And because I mean, look at something like the Grant Morrison X-Men run. They didn't relaunch the book. They didn't put a new number 1 on it. Grant Morrison's X-Men run starts in issue 114. And it is a category defining run of books.
Yes.
Like the whole era of X-Men, the whole next 10 years of X-Men essentially spiral out of that book and the events of that book. Issue 114
Right.
and 394 like respectively of Uncanny. Like,
Right.
and then just it really felt arbitrarily. They were like, oh, at like issue 612 of Uncanny, we're gonna cancel Uncanny and start a new number 1. Fucking why? You
Yeah.
just proved that you didn't need to do that. Now we
Yeah.
need to do a new number 1, but it's like they saw that the speculator market was booming. That the movies are coming out, so now people want number 1s because they might be worth money and da 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 da. Now we could do variants. I'm like, you could do variants of an issue 450. Like I
Yeah.
guarantee you, people who buy variants are gonna buy it. They don't
Right.
care what issue it is. Because guess what? Amazing Spider-Man was at 300, still does numbers
Yes.
because it is an important issue, not because it's a number 1.
Right.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah. I don't get that, man. It's like when they first start, like when it was kind of a novel thing, there wasn't so many to keep track of. But now it's gotten to the point where it's like, okay, you say Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man #1 or whatever. You say that #1 book, and then you got to tell somebody who's new to comics, oh no, not that #1. I meant this #1, the volume 7 of Batman, of Detective, of whatever it is. And it's like that just it's just confusing to readers, and it's I think it turns off a lot of people who want to get in and they're like, ah, this is too confusing. I'm out. Like
Yeah.
just like you said, the legacy numbering, if you want to renumber it on a trade, like if you want to do Grant Morrison New X-Men, have that be a volume 1 or whatever, and then you can have it as a collection. But as individual issues, as we're going on, that learn from the history of it, learn from the way that it started. And when our dads were growing up, like when our parents and grandparents, it wasn't the need to renumber so many times. They were okay. They lived and were okay with having a number 257 or whatever it was, and it didn't hurt the market. So yeah, like to
The
me that
first issue of Incredible Hulk is number 105.
yeah, yeah.
Because they took over another book. Because back then, continuous numbering was way more important because people wanted to see that a book had longevity. If
Yes.
you put out an Incredible Hulk #1, it wouldn't have sold because that was the market at the time. The market was way more concerned about like, I don't, it's only got one issue. Why, like, is there going to be more? Because
Right.
back then everything got canceled, and that's the thing. Now it almost feels like you got to wait till issue 6 to see. It's issue 7 to see if a book is going to continue because
Right.
it's like, oh, it's got 7. Okay, it'll go at least 10
Yes.
because then that way. I wasn't asking you anything, Gemini. Shut the fuck up. It just like popped up out of nowhere. I didn't even say anything. I didn't say none of the keywords.
I
It was
had
like,
that
hold on. He's
happen
like, I've got
the
some
other day.
opinions about this too.
Yeah. A hologram pops up.
Right.
Yeah.
Let me tell you. But yeah, no,
Yeah,
I
man.
think now it's like it's like that's why I look at solicitations and I'm like, is are we still getting this book in 3 months? Are we still getting this book in 4 months? Because for me, I'm a trade collector, so I'm thinking like, how soon am I getting my first trade? Or how good is this run going to be? How excited should I get for this run? Because like I I love Monica Rambeau, one of my favorite characters. 5 issues. I'm not as excited for a run of 5 issues.
Right.
12? You give me a year's worth of story. You let a writer breathe a little bit, let them have some fun with it. I'm much more excited about that.
Yes.
So that's why I
Yep.
think with something like this, if they had said, "Hey, Eve, you get 2 years. We're gonna get you 2 years of books, guaranteed." I bet you we finish out this storyline. We get more stuff. We have more fun with it. We have more fun crossovers, single issue, because that Spider-Man and that Wasp issue, great standalone pieces. Yeah, they tie into the overall thing, but great standalone pieces. It's
Yes.
like, hey, we're champions. We've got this thing, and it was also like a lead into champions. Like, oh, we got this
Yeah.
little bit of
Yes.
friction. This is
Yeah.
happening in champions. Maybe I want to read champions because this little
Yes.
interaction is interesting to me. So like, there's
Yes.
just a lot to have there if you let a creator play with the work. That's why, like
Yes.
you said, that's why indie books to me are sort of at the forefront because you know the art may not be the top of the top in some cases, and in other cases it is honestly,
Yes.
there are cases where I'm waiting for books because Marvel's already scooped up the talent, and now
Ah,
I'm waiting for the next issue 4 or 5 years because they got 6 projects over at Marvel.
right. Yeah. Yeah.
So like
And
there is that. So like you can be too good for indie
yeah.
because
Yes, a
then
hundred percent.
they come with commas, and you're like, well, I like commas.
Yeah. Yes.
Commas
Like
pay bills.
yes. And like you said, it's like you never want to get in the way of somebody's bag. And I think as we get older, I I understand that a lot more now as a father, as somebody who is not single and doesn't have any responsibilities. Like I have a lot more bills to pay now than I did 10, 15 years ago. So, yeah, you never want to get in the way, but for us as consumers and as readers, as fans of this stuff, it's like we want the best possible story and we want the best possible art that is going to come out. And so if we could just get the let the artist vision be the artist vision, not cut it off and try to, you know, make squeeze the most dollars out of it that you can. So that's where the indie side has my heart. It's like I love supporting creators and then trying to give them as much as I can versus okay, I'm not giving the bigger companies, you know, all those cuts. I want to give the artist as
Right.
much as I can and try to do like Kickstarter stuff and all kind of those type of things. But that also makes me think about, and I'm curious where you stand right now on the MCU. Because when I said that this Ironheart book
Mhm.
was better than half the current Marvel stuff, really that was more talking indicative of the quality of the MCU than the quality of the book, which I love this Ironheart run. Um, but the MCU where it's at right now, I don't feel that confidence that I had after Endgame, where I'm like riding the wave of Endgame and saying to people, "Hey, the MCU is great. You can watch this. You can watch this." When I make recommendations today, people are like, "Nah, I don't have time for that. I'm doing this, this, and this." And look at the last couple movies, and I'm like trying to convince them and be like, no, no, there's still good stuff. You can still watch this good stuff. And they're like, no, no, they fooled me on this, this, and this. Secret Invasion and Echo and like, and really, it's a lot of Disney Plus stuff. But even the stuff in the theater, it had an event. Like, you have to go watch the latest, movie. How do you feel about the MCU today in June 2025? How do you feel about the MCU?
I feel more excited than I have in a long time.
Nice, nice.
I feel, yeah, no, I love the MCU. I think truly there is no bad MCU film. Of course, in my opinion, right? Everyone's got their opinion,
Yes.
and I'm
Yes.
not going to argue with anybody who thinks something is bad. I will try to give them context. I think there are people who are like, "Oh, this movie was garbage." I'm like, "Did you see Fantastic?" Because people walked out of that movie. Okay.
Yes.
So like I think we need to set a like an understandable bar, right? Everyone's like, oh, this is garbage, this is garbage. Fantastic, right? You go to the old heads, Blood Rain. Blood Rain is
Oh,
like
wow.
that's the bar. That's
I
like the low
forgot
bar.
about that movie.
Of
Yes.
course you did,
Yes.
because why would you remember it? Because that's the first movie in my
Oh,
life
man.
that I fast forwarded through.
Dang.
And
Yes.
I was like, okay, cool, sex scene, whatever. I don't care. Fast forward. Like where's this vampire story? Slash, slash, slash. Like she's got the dope swords. What the hell's going
Yeah.
on? And then I was like, all right, well, that was like kind of disappointing. And then they had a second one already made at the time. Put the second one on. Can you believe there's more sex scenes? I swear to God, I only watched about 7 minutes of that movie because I was just skipping through sex scenes. I'm like, what the fuck? I don't care about
Right.
this. Where's the plot of this movie?
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Sir,
more like,
sir, they made
yeah.
four of those.
Whoa. I didn't know there was more than one. Now
They
that, I mean,
made four of those, brother.
that's crazy. But you know
Yeah,
what? Also, I think the MCU brand I think the Sony movies have really muddied the water for what the casual viewer thinks is an MCU movie. Like they, I'm sure 100% of the casual audience, not 100%, sorry, 90%, most of the casual audience thinks that Craven, Madam Web, Morbius, and the Venom movies.
they're
Well,
Marvel
actually, I
movies.
have, yeah, they're all Marvel movies. They're MCU movies. My wife's parents, my in-laws, they loved Venom. And then when my wife and I, because my wife through me osmosis, like she knows all these things, and she's like, "Yeah, that's a Spider-Man villain." They're like, "What? Spider-Man?" And I 100% think a lot of the viewpoints on the MCU right now are way down. And the did you see Thunderbolts?
Yeah, loved it.
I loved Thunderbolts, and it was like, where's the audience at? Like, why aren't people turning out to this one in droves. And I
Can
feel
I tell
like,
you what I think what the
yeah,
problem with
yes, tell
Thunderbolts
me,
was?
tell me.
What I think the problem with Thunderbolts was it cost too much money.
Oh,
I the
to
way that
make,
this movie
yeah.
had it was now the second movie in a trend that I'm loving, which is we're resolving this not with CGI fist punch. We're resolving this with mental, emotional.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, yeah, you had a little bit of a fight between Captain America and Red Hulk, but he was like, "Hey, think about your
yeah.
daughter. I need
Yes.
you to calm your shit
Right.
down."
Right.
And he was like, "All right, cool."
Yes.
Right? Like
Yes.
this was all about emotional. This was about people coming together. This was about team. This was literally about the building of a team. This is how you the climax of this movie is the building of a team, which is love. Like, oh my god,
Yeah.
like as far as narrative, as far as storytelling, it was like the fight scene in this was not the fight to beat a villain, it was the fight to save a friend.
Yes. Yes.
And in a large part from himself.
Right.
and
Yeah.
and there was just something more powerful about that movie made so many people feel feelings they weren't expecting. They were not expecting to like deal with trauma coming into that movie, but like it's a great film. I think it just costs too much. I think they need to really restructure how they make these movies. um I don't know that we needed like all the on-site things. I feel like
Mm.
there was a lot of on-site things that I'm like, you could have saved probably 10 G's here, 20 G's here without going to like five places.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
because it's hard for me narratively to believe that they went off into the desert to
Right.
find him and then they like made it back to New York so fast. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like just
Yeah.
like make it closer. Like
Right.
there's
Yeah.
places there's mountains in the New York State. It
Yeah.
could have been in a mountain.
Yeah.
Could have been easier to
Yes.
film. I'm just saying like
Yeah.
there's just ways to do this, and they're like, oh, we want this like wide sweeping shot. We don't need that. Like yeah, the like highway shot was cool with the you know thing flipping over, but like we don't. That's not necessary for this movie. Like it's a
Right.
little gag. It was a gag.
Yeah.
Winter Soldier blowing up the limo was a gag. And that's fine. You need a gag for the trailer. Find a different gag.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
took a whole opening sequence of Ragnarok from the streets of New York to the countryside in Norway and did it all through CG. You could just pick a different location. Like
Yeah. Man.
and like that's the kind of stuff that ends up costing more money, right?
Right.
Like changing all these locations and all this stuff. Fine, like I don't know, just there's I feel like there's and my cousin and I have talked about this. I think there is something to be said about I don't want to get in the way of nobody's bag. Okay, we've talked about this before. We've mentioned this earlier. I think some of these actors need to be taking less up front. I think
Mm.
their initial investment needs to be heavier on the time and heavier on the money. Like, hey, I'm only gonna like, let's say their going rate or whatever is 10 mil. Take fucking
Right.
five and take
Right.
like 3 points on the back end.
Yeah.
Work out
Yes.
a deal where we can make this movie. Because that's the thing. There's money to be made with these movies. If you went back to 3 or 4 MCU movies a year, but they all cost less, they were stronger narratively, right? We'll be back in it. We'll be back in it quick. I
And
think
that's
I think from a viewer perspective, we had this massive 10-year build up, the end game nut. Like we all
yeah.
came, it was great.
Yeah.
Like but like you can't go from that and like because what was next? Like it
Oh man.
was it
Wasn't
Eternals? It wasn't Eternals.
Yeah. I think that was.
And then I think people were like, "Oh, we're up here." Eternals are still going. No, 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 no. You gotta remember, we're back down. We gotta start at the bottom again. We gotta lay groundwork again because you can't
Yes.
just. I mean, look at any. I mean, the general audience doesn't know this, and like the MCU Marvel fans, the people who came in with the MCU and like have only dabbled in comics, they don't understand the narrative flow of this. You build, if you're Jonathan Hickman, you come in, you spend 2 years building the incursions, and then you do Secret Wars, and it's the big event. And the next thing is now we have new rules, we have new situations, and now we got to build again, and we got to build up to the next thing.
Yes.
We can't stay up here. Everything can't be massive intercompany inter crossover. Like it can't.
Right.
But I think what they
I
also failed at. Sorry, I've got a lot of opinions on
Oh
this.
no, yeah. Yes, yes.
What I think they also failed at is setting up groundwork in films to allow for cheaper shows.
Yes.
You could have built the original Thunderbolts. I'm saying you could have made the original 1997 Thunderbolts team by in Iron Man 3, as instead of that like opening sequence where the Mandarin attacks or whatever, you could open the movie kind of like, remember the beginning of Justice League, the theatrical one. He's like just saved some stuff, and like they get him on a camera phone, right? Like there's just like a little moment, right? It's not great, but like I'm just saying, like the moment.
Yes.
If you have Iron Man literally just like walking a villain into Shield in
Yeah.
handcuffs,
Right.
right?
Hmm.
He's and it's screaming Mimi.
Ooh.
He's got her mouth covered, and he's like, "Hey, you got to watch this one. She's got a loud mouth."
Yeah.
Right? And you just like just drop that little gem. Build all
Yes.
just like that's the thing is a lot of this story writing is they're skipping out on it because they're like, oh, well, we don't know if this will pay off. But like
Yeah.
that's a throwaway. Or if you do the work and then you're like, hey, we're gonna do a Thunderbolts movie. Hey, what if that chick? What if we bring her back? Like we have these seeds. Let's just pick up on that seed. She broke out. Do a short. What happened to the
Yeah.
MCU shorts? You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
really.
Like we liked Trevor
Yeah.
because we had a through line. We built
Yes.
him as like an interesting character, so that's why
Yes.
he worked in Shang-Chi. Like there's just I feel like there's lost opportunity. They go into some of these bigger things and like these bigger moments, and like yeah, Iron Man 3 opens with a cool sequence. I would have preferred it to open with like Iron Man out on patrol.
Mm.
Iron Man out on patrol. And then it's
Yeah.
like, then he gets attacked. Like he drops it off and he goes home. And as he like parks, missiles. Oh shit, what the fuck is happening? Right? You know, like they're
Yeah.
like it's you can have the same thing, but just like add 30 seconds. Add
Right.
a minute sequence where he like drops off one of the well, it's like essentially like, hey, we're just gonna like cache this villain for later. Like like we
Yes.
just have this like we got to remember that's why I think a big part of Thunderbolts that kind of like not took me out of it, but like as a writer and as like a fan of comics and a fan of story, where the fuck is Sam?
Right.
This is a bit people are disappearing, potentially dying in New
Yeah.
York. Where the fuck is Sam? Like
That is the problem of universe thing that the CU is. It's like the premise of the shared universe is what we loved about those first three phases that set up to Endgame was that we felt like it was all connected. Okay, we're invested now. And then these next two phases, which it's like the phases is all marketing stuff, but to organize it in our brains, phases 4 and 5 have been just scatterbrained. They're just all over the place. They don't feel connected. And I was wrong. After Endgame was Far From Home, which they both came out in the same year. So it was
true,
like,
yeah.
yeah. But then it was COVID. Then it was Black Widow. Then Shang-Chi. Then Eternals.
That's right.
So all of those, like, and I think
But they're all building
COVID,
movies. Black Widow
right.
should have happened sooner, obviously.
Yes. I think COVID and then recently the strikes have really kind of shaken up the MCU where they're like trying to scramble to get back to where they were. But like you said, it's the setup and the payoff. That if they can get that right, if they can get, okay, set these characters up, why we care about them, and then pay it off of something happens, right? That's what we want out of all these things. And I don't think we're getting that in these last couple phases. I'm like you, where this next one, I'm really looking forward to, like Fantastic Four. I don't know what Brand New Day is going to be, but I'm hoping something good. And then Doomsday and Secret Wars. I'm hopeful that Marvel is going to give me some type of a release with these next two Avengers movies, and then I really think they're going to reboot. Like they have to do it. Like I can't see them continuing.
Post Secret Wars, I think we're gonna get a recast T'Challa. I think post Secret Wars we get a shakeup along the lines of what happened in 2015 in the Marvel comics. You get
Oh, okay.
certain
Yeah.
characters mixed in, right. You might have, if they can get them. I don't know why they would. I really wish they would recast him and get a newer, younger Wolverine. But I think we get a Hugh Jackman running around the MCU.
Oh
You know what I'm
wow.
saying? Like I think some of these
Dang, you could
characters.
be like 60 at that point.
Remember, till you're 90.
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
it's a gag, but like I said, people love commas, and he just got a
Yeah.
divorce, so he's got to pay
Ooh.
alimony.
Ooh. Yes. Oh, look up his age real quick. Yeah, he's
uh,
56 today.
yeah.
So yeah, after Secret Wars, man. But also, I guess throw in the Disney Plus of it all has been, we got to get more content. We got to get more content. We just got to throw out stuff, and they've come out with the reports of, oh, they didn't even have showrunners. It
Which
was
is
just like,
insane. Oh my god! When I found that out, I was like, "How the hell did we get as good as we did without
yeah,
showrunners?"
right. And
Like
it's like,
we got lucky with WandaVision. We
I
got
think so.
lucky.
I think 100%. And then they
Like
just kept going. Like they're just like, nope, this is what works, so we're gonna keep
I
on
would
doing it.
say for my opinion, I think the lowest bar in the Marvel universe, and I still wouldn't call it bad. I think there's a lot of problems with it. Like if I sit down and like break it down again, like I always feel like you could nitpick anything to death, right? You could pick any movie and be like, oh well this and this and this.
Right.
Like Thunderbolts, great movie. Hated the fact that they just discarded Taskmaster.
Yeah.
Like they
Yeah.
killed her off for a gag. They really killed her off in a way that was like, hey, sorry for Black Widow. Bah.
Yeah.
Like that's
That
what it
made
felt
no
like.
sense to me. And it was
Like
like, you could see it in the marketing because there were
she wasn't in it.
scenes. Yeah, it was like, I I was, when I went into it, I was like, okay, this is almost too obvious. Like they're not going to do that, right? Like the way that they had set it up of, okay, she's in that part of the first part of the trailer, and then you never see her in other parts. So it was, I mean, from the get-go, Taskmaster in Black Widow, I was like, why are they not just doing the comic Taskmaster? Like just give us the Taskmaster that I love in the comics, and then build out that character. Like,
And I think they could have. I think they could have taken her, done a
oh,
show,
and turned her into that.
do a
Okay.
show,
Okay.
and have her like, hey, I'm be out here, and
Yeah.
kind of like come to the realization that like she can't fit in, and like the way she is like just doesn't work with
Mm.
society, and she can't be part of everything. So that, and like you could have built to this where she's working for Val.
Yes.
Give
Yes.
me give me a six issue, 6 episode miniseries. I mean, I guess that's a whole season now of
Yeah.
TV.
Yeah. Yeah.
But give me a 6 episodes season of like her, and it's like it's a cheap fucking show. You don't do anything, and it's literally just like there's no big set pieces, but it's like she could be out there, she could be in civilian clothing for 90% of it, and she's just trying to find her way, and she's like taking odd jobs and like trying to like
Mm.
fit into situations, then everyone dies around
Yeah.
her, and then it's like shit, I obviously I can't be part of regular society, and then fucking out of the shadows here comes Val, hey, you got to work for me now. Like, and like it's like you could have done this, and that's why I like the comic book medium. This is why I was actually
Yeah.
thinking about this while I was reading this series.
Yeah.
uh at the beginning of it, I'm like, there's a lot of liberties you can take in comics that you can't in movies, because movies cost so damn much. TV shows
Yes.
cost so damn much.
Yeah.
So like you can't take the same kind of liberties. Like
Right.
essentially this was like the first arc. They're like, oh yeah, Midnight Fire, and it's like if you didn't read New Warriors in 1995, you don't fucking know who Midnight Fire is. No clue. I
Yeah.
didn't even know. Like I vaguely remembered the look, and I was like, I've seen this dude around somewhere. And then Silhouette shows up, and then I was like, oh, he's my brother, and I was like, oh yeah. like it was one of those things. Like I haven't read I've only read part of that original New Warriors run. So
Right.
it's like if you didn't read New Warriors in the 90s, you don't know who this character is. So it's like it's another one of
Well,
those things like here, let's like sprinkle some fucking seeds around somewhere in all these
right.
shows and all these movies. And then when later it picks up and you bring in a random character, you could just be like, oh yeah, that's from that. Oh shit,
Yeah.
that's right. That's that character was in. Like that's why I think there's a lot of people who are like, oh, Riri Williams is taking up the spot of the kid from Iron Man 3. And it's like, you could have done that show.
Right. Right.
You could
A
have him
hundred
be in
percent.
this show.
100%.
Like you could have him be like, oh, I see what she did. Man, I could do that shit too.
Yeah.
Maybe he doesn't
Makes
become Iron Man, but maybe he does something else. Maybe it's funny. I saw this is gonna be funny. I saw a video of somebody riding, the weird, it's like a gyroscopic, full, massive wheel. And I was like, that's a Spider-Man villain.
yeah, yeah.
I was like, we need one of these people. Let's put this
Yes.
dude on the show. Let's put this dude in a
Yes.
movie.
Yes.
Because it's
Yes.
like, this is a Spider-Man villain. I'm like, and this is real technology. This dude is in
Right.
a video, like in real life. And I'm like, we don't even have to make some shit up for this. Like, you don't have to
Yeah.
CG this at all. Like,
There's got to be some writer out there that they see that they're like inspired, to put that add that to a show. But you know what? Even Clash was a character that she first encounters. Like that's the very first villain that she's
yeah,
comes
and that was
across.
from like that Spider-Man, the post Secret
Yeah,
War Spider-Man run.
I had no like I knew that character just because I was trying to stay caught up on Spider-Man at the time and
Yeah,
I'd
yeah.
fallen behind again. But um that's another that's a thing that you do where you set up this character has their own rogues gallery. Like you can take these C-list, D-list characters and build out, okay, now here's Riri's roster of villains. Like here's these people. So it works on multiple levels of you get these you're building out the world, you're building out the rogues gallery, you're building out this character, you're setting up the hero being defined by the caliber of villains that are coming at them and how do they overcome that. So all of those things are on par. And like you said, I like that idea of having that kid from Iron Man 3 come in and you could even like if he's not in the comics, build him out as a new character in the
Yeah.
MCU and then bring him into the comics. Do a Harley Quinn or something. Like bring them from another medium into the
Coulson,
comics. Yeah,
Black
right.
Fury.
Yes. 100%. Like there's no reason why they could not have done that. I'm
None.
interested to see what the Ironheart um storyline of the hood and it looks like magic and technology together.
Yeah.
I'm interested to
Tech
see
versus
where
magic. It's
yeah,
a
where are
classic
they
comparison.
going um in that and then what after we see it, oh yeah, we where could that character have fit in that Iron Man kid, which I even forget his name now, but like where could he
I
have
don't
fit
remember.
in?
Yeah.
That could be an interesting thing to see. It yeah, I just already feel bad about the Ironheart show because it's been done. I want to say it's been on the shelf for like 2, 3 years, and it
I I have to believe, and I also had like when I found that out, I was like, oh, shit, I because I remember them announcing it a long time ago,
yes,
and I didn't know it had filmed, and then somebody recently was like, oh yeah, like you guys had this sitting on the shelf for a while, and I was like, in reality, I think what happened, She-Hulk came out, everybody pissed their pants about the quality of the CG or whatever, which is a great fucking show by the way.
I love She-Hulk.
Narratively, again, the lack of a director, the lack of a showrunner, definitely like it was a comic book finale. It was like we're just gonna
Yes,
fucking dump the plot. We're dumping the plot,
yes,
and I was like, what's happening?
yeah. Here's Scar
Um,
at the cookout.
yeah,
Yeah,
I was like, what the fuck is happening, dude?
Yes,
Uh,
yes,
and so yeah, but like everybody was like, "Oh, the CG was so garbage," you know. So I think what happened was they were doing that show, they saw that reaction, and they were like, "Let's run this through a couple more renders. Let's tighten up these lines, tighten up these polys because like this show is all about armors, and the armors got to look good. The
yeah.
armors got to look good." And
Which
I think that's why it's been sitting.
and they were notorious for overworking their CG artists. Like, I,
And
and I'm
they've unionized finally, which I'm super
and
excited
I'm all
about.
for giving the get. Do not make this a sweatshop and
Yeah,
force these guys into
I
this
would
type of
much rather get like one great show and one great movie a year
yeah.
than have some sort of like, I mean, like the COVID situation where we got
Right.
three shows, four shows in a year. Like
Yeah.
we don't need that. Like
Yeah.
we can
And
chill the fuck out.
also, the way that they were doing it was almost like they were movies cut up into like Falcon and the Winter Soldier felt like, okay, this is a movie and they cut it up into episodes. It didn't feel like a TV show to me from the start. And I feel like they should lean into this is the strength of television is much more closer to comics of being episodic than movies are. So like lean into that, the strength of TV and what you can do in that versus movies. Hopefully,
That's why I'm salty that they're doing an X-Men movie. I've done this pitch. I
mm,
think X-Men, I
TV
think
show.
the initial X-Men run is 3 seasons of
Ooh,
setting up the X-Men. I don't even think you have to do multiverse
dang.
shenanigans. Have I told you my pitch? I would love to tell you my pitch.
Yes, I can't wait to hear this. I love it.
First season, it could, whatever the episode count. First season, it's the 60s or whatever era you want to foot.
Oh, wow.
However you
Yeah.
just whatever you want to
Yes.
decide is like the modern day version of the X-Men.
Yeah.
Set it back 30 years, 40
Okay.
years, whatever, right?
Dang.
It's the
That's like
it's
the 90s almost now. Like thinking
yeah,
about it.
well, right. So it's like it's the 90s, right? So it's the
Yeah.
90s. It's let's say it's right before, right before Captain Marvel, right? Because we have an inflection point
Ooh,
where
yes.
we
Yeah.
didn't know about the
Mm-hmm.
X-Men.
Right.
So this whole 3 seasons happens before that. It's they're out, they're doing their thing. There's the school is being is built. He's got the original team. He's got them out. You could have a little fun. You could almost have them have kind of like a 90s version of those original X-Men like
Oh, man.
uniforms.
People would go crazy for
I'm
that.
telling you,
Oh,
dude. I'm telling you, there's
man.
so much fun to have with this. So
Yes.
you do a season 6, 10, 6 or whatever episodes of they're out, they're learning, they're trying to control their powers. It's the first season. End of the first season, uh, you get a back of the head cameo of someone holding a newspaper, and it says X-Men save the day, and he's just like, who? Because it's like, what are you talking about?
Right.
Season two, now they're a little more public. They got a new set of suits. They've
Mm,
like graduated a level. So now, you like
yes.
play with the shit that
Yes.
the X-Men have done. Like have new suits, have new uniforms. There's a new mutants
Ugh.
class now that they're graduated up one level. You know what I'm saying? Like so now you have a little bit more of a cast of characters. You've got some more background characters. You see Rain running around in the background in Lycan form. Just like all these little moments you can have and build up these characters and build up the storyline. And then it ends with like, let's say they're in
Mm.
like their classic 90s style looks,
Ooh.
right? And that's like their big
Ooh.
graduation. That's like their high school graduation. And then they're like boom, boom, boom. They like save the day, whatever the villain, like the villain is less important in all of this than the plot. Knock on the door. Or like he's having a conversation. They're like, oh, I'm so proud of you, Scott. Da da da. And he's like, Scott, get the door. Then you hear the knock. Open the door. Chris Evans, a little bit of old makeup on. He's like, I need to talk to you. He's like, and you are? And he looks at him. He's like, I'm Steve Rogers. And Scott's like, no, you're not. And he's like, Scott, he is. Let's talk.
Mm.
Season 3, you find out, oh, you guys don't exist. We have one chance to beat Thanos. You can't be here. I don't know how you're here. There's no record of you. There's no historical record of you. I studied everything Shield had. you guys don't exist. You can't exist. Otherwise, we don't win.
Hmm.
And then we're looking through like how do we do this? And then um at the end of the Uncanny Run, right before the Krakoan Age, there was a Cerebro thing that they did. Uh, uh, White Queen did it. She essentially sent out a signal, like globally, where humans could no longer perceive mutant abilities. Like they couldn't even perceive the existence of mutants. And like there's just this great scene of Scott and Alex talking in a park, people all around them, and Alex just lets off a blast in the air, no reaction. Like nobody flinches because they don't see it, they can't even perceive it. So my thing is, then the last season is we figure this out, and then you can have like whenever they come back, you have little flashback moments of the battle for New York, and they're like saving people and like they're doing background shit, but like no one can perceive their powers. They've been here the whole time saving people, like little saves and all this stuff because they're like, hey, we can't win if you are here. And you can even have like little clips of them in the big battle, but just like
Yes.
kind of play on the have you ever seen the character Forget Me Not?
Yes. Oh, I love it. Yes. Yes.
Play that for
Yes.
them. They've been
Yes.
here the whole time just doing
Yes.
saves, but like no one can remember them, maybe bring him in, and they're like, how can we apply your power to everyone? We need your, you know what I'm saying? Like, and then it's like we click back in and like right maybe an hour a year later, maybe the it hasn't worn off because it's been 30 years, they've forgotten who was doing it, and you find out it's like it's Xavier or it's one of the maybe it's whoever sitting in the chair essentially stuck, and they got to figure out a way, and they go to Sam Wilson or whoever, and they're like, hey yo, you know anything about this? Because like we got to get this dude out of this chair. And they're like, who the hell are you guys? And like we're the X-Men, and it's just like six people in regular clothes. And he's like, what are you talking about?
This would have been perfect during this, like, again, if COVID hadn't happened, placing it right after Endgame and then leading up to this new Doomsday Secret Wars,
Yeah.
like all of that, that would have been perfect. Everything you just said, I would have loved to have seen on the screen. I wonder if they're this X-Men movie that they're doing now, do you think they're going to try to set up Avengers versus X-Men? Do you think that's the way that they're going to?
Probably, probably that'll be the next big thing. Uh, Although the problem with that is you can't unless you do another Phoenix story, specifically a Dark Phoenix story.
Right.
And that's the one thing literally none of us want. Literally 0% of viewers want another fucking Dark Phoenix movie because it's been done poorly twice. And you can't tell me you're going to get it right because the whole reason the Dark Phoenix story works is because we had years of buildup in the comics.
Yeah.
Years. You can't do a Dark Phoenix movie after two movies or after three movies. I'm going
Yeah.
to need a decade of movies before you even touch. I need 10 X-Men related films
Uh,
before you even touch a Phoenix.
yeah.
Because
Dang, man.
unless you do the whole thing with the 2000s movies where it's part of her all along, but then you got to lay the groundwork in the first one.
Right.
You got to lay the
Yeah.
groundwork in the first one and then build up out of it. I really don't want that because like what all to get to AVX, obviously you could change the story, but like let's say get to some variety of AVX as it happened in the comics, Jean's got to die. Mutants have to stop being a thing. Mutants have to be reborn with a first new baby. Like there's just a lot of shit that needs to happen. Oh yeah, this baby has to be raised in the future in like wartime across many possible futures. You know what I'm saying? Like there's just a lot to be done. Now, raising a baby in future with like new actresses coming in. You do that in a little 6 10 issue series, 100%. That is like a cable run I would watch weekly,
Ooh,
weekly.
yes, yes.
But like you got to get to that first,
Right.
and all of it's got to be something because that was the I think that's the main reason Batman v Superman failed. Honestly, Civil War didn't fail, but I think for me, from a narrative perspective, it did. I think it was too soon. We only
Mm,
had what 7 years of them working together,
right.
and then it was like, oh yeah, government shit, and it's like, ah. Like, granted, I will say, being that it's more realistic, and I put that in the massivest air quotes I can, uh, it makes a little more sense the government would get more heavily involved sooner. Um, but like the embassy thing being the kickoff, not as big in my opinion as what happened in the comics. Obviously, I wouldn't want them to have shown a school being blown up, but like something bigger than like, oh, it was an embassy. And it was like it wasn't even that many dead. It was like 30 dead. You know what I mean? Like the
Right.
whole building didn't explode. Like, and
Right.
it's like there was already a fight happening. It's not like that those people were all there. Some of those people got out. So like that
Right.
building wasn't full. I'm just saying, like, there could have been a bigger inciting incident. There could have been a little bit more build up to that, because I think a big factor of Civil War, again, in the comics, is that you had all this build up. You had the Spider-Man through arc of him becoming Tony's right hand man and all this stuff, and like they just kind of tacked that on in the movie once they got the rights situation sorted. And it's like you could have you could have built up to this. We could have
Yeah.
had a Spider-Man movie before Civil War, and
Yeah.
then you have Tony kind of mentoring him throughout that. And that's the other thing.
Yes.
People are like, "Oh, this is just Miles' story gentrified," and I'm like, "How?" Oh,
Yeah.
because like he's a fan of the superheroes. That's it. That's it. Like you don't think some like kid who like has literally grown up his teenage life now watching real life superheroes would be a fan of superhero? Like,
Right.
it
Yeah.
just it's a goofy argument, and it's like I think there's, we keep going back to it. There's a lack of buildup. There's a lack of buildup, and that's why, like, in the series, like in the Ironheart comic series, she spent 12 issues building up this dad thing, and we don't get a payoff because the series got canceled. And
Yeah.
maybe they touched on it in Champions. I don't know, because I've read certain things. I read Champions, ironically, and it was like she disappeared because she didn't have a suit. Like Tony had come back, and then she came back and she was in a suit. Like that's how Champions went. It was like nothing, and then boom, I have a suit now. Like, and that's another thing where, like, even that, even in comics, sometimes you lose the opportunity to have that, the build, right? Because you could have had little mini series of, like, just call it Riri Williams, like
Yeah.
Ironheart question
Yep.
mark,
Yes.
and then bit like, how is she gonna develop her identity? Because
Right.
literally, I don't believe that there's any sequence of like her making this suit. It's
Yeah.
like she's Ironheart with Iron Man's suit one day, and just comes back after like a 3 issue period where she's doing nothing, and she's in like civilian clothes, and she's got a suit now. And I was
Yeah. I
like,
can't
oh, okay,
think of, yeah.
cool. Like, I was like a big reason we love Iron Man is because we get to see like the testing stuff. Hey, we're gonna
Yes.
try this thing. So I don't know.
Right.
Maybe there was a sequence that I just don't recall, but like, I like I said, I'm a
Yeah.
process junkie, so I like to see how things are built, and if, especially with a character that builds things,
Yeah.
like the Dan Slott Spider-Man era is my favorite shit, because you got to see him in the lab creating new suits, coming up with new ideas, and I was like, this is dope. Like, this is my favorite Spider-Man run, besides
That
Ben
was
Riley. Ben Riley's the OG. That's my Spider-Man.
yes. That was fantastic. I love that that era of Spider-Man in particular. But yeah, I think also Sony having their hands in Spider-Man, it's like how
And they're
much did
rebooting
they,
that.
yeah. I'm I'm Spider-Man is always going to be popular. He's always going to be a character that they can fall back on. I wonder bringing in the X-Men because I want to say a year ago or 2 years ago when I was thinking about the MCU and I said, what can bring people back to the seats? What can put the butts back in seats? And I thought it was X-Men and Fantastic Four. Those are the
Mhm.
two properties that if they land those
Yep.
and they get them right, then people will be like, "Oh, I have confidence in the MCU again." I'm really interested to see Fantastic Four comes out in a couple weeks. What the reception is because Brave New World and Thunderbolts this year have both been just like middle of the pack. Like I've seen a bunch of people be like, "Oh, they failed. They were bombs, box office
Right.
bombs."
I mean, for
I feel
Marvel,
like,
they were bombs,
yeah, right,
and I think
right,
that's what a lot of people are also like comparing it to. But like
right.
in reality, you can't compare every MCU movie to the top three or four or even five MCU movies because those are the top five movies of all time.
Yes,
You
right.
just can't.
Yes,
It'd
right,
be like comparing every Spielberg project to Titanic.
right.
You can't.
Yeah,
Titanic's been re-released 15 times because that's how big it is. That's how popular it is. You
right.
can't compare to that. You can't
Yes,
compare to Avatar because Avatar was a phenomenon of its time and
yes.
not my thing, honestly. Like it's a great film. It
I
can I tell you at the end of the second one, I like they finally I didn't like the plot at all because it didn't get me they got a little emotion out of me right at the end like the dad moment, the kid and his dad, right? I was like, all right, you got me, you like you went deep into my own trauma,
yeah.
all right, you get this one. But then at the end it was like clearly like it was the hardest please come back for the next movie like moment, like, oh, now we're gonna go to the Fire Nation. and i was like and I was like, okay, zero desire to see it, and I think that's where it fails. I think it like executes so highly on like the technical and the visuals that I think the narrative just kind of falls flat and it doesn't really truly engage you.
Hmm.
Whereas I've seen, like, I watched, was it Maze Runner? The first Maze Runner movie,
Yeah.
dude, that movie ended. I was like, when's the next one coming out? I didn't even know if like I didn't know it was a book series. I didn't know anything. I was just like, when's the fucking next one coming out? Because it was just so like it just grabbed me. And then the second one, same thing. At the end of the second was it grabbed me. I was like, dude, this is great. Like this is what I want from a movie, especially if it's in a series. I need you gotta grab me by the balls at the end of the movie. Like you gotta come back. You gotta come back or you can't have these, son. Like that's just what I feel. Like like they're when you know you're making a series of films, especially if it's like a sequential thing, you gotta pay off that finale.
Right.
And if it even if the book was kind of like meh, amp it up. Find a way to amp it up. Like
Yeah.
you gotta build up that finale. Like that's why they are working on a film series of it. But Iron Widow, great book series by the way. Uh, the way the first book ends, the way the second book ends, which it was supposed to be a duology, and when I got to the end of the second one and it was a to be continued, I almost lost my mind. But like the way the first book ends, dude, I was like, fuck yeah. Cause I was also like devastated. Cause the way it ends, like I don't want to spoil that for you if you haven't read it. So like please read that book. Both books are great. The it's good. Those are gonna be expensive movies. Those are so here was the sales pitch that got me hooked. It was Dragon Ball Z mixed with Gundam, like, and it's set around the real world historical characters put into a very science fiction fantasy world of the first and only female emperor in China's history. And it's like very obviously very fictionalized. There's like I said, Gundams and shit, but like we're talking chi blasts. We're talking shifting metal. We're talking, dude. It's so dope. It's such. Oh my god. So the creatures they fight in the first book they're called the Wind Winds, And I didn't know what that was like, right? So as I was I was listening to the book the first time, I like had an idea of, because it was kind of like they're like, oh, they're shapeless and da da da, right? So I had this like idea of what they looked like in my head, and then I watched Shang Chi, and uh, what's the little guy? Terrence? Was it Terrence?
Shoot, dang.
The little creature dude
Yeah,
has doesn't have a
I know what you're
face.
talking about. Yeah, that
I
the
looked it
little
up because I was like, what the hell
thing.
is this
Yeah.
thing? And I looked it up, and that's what it was. So then I like retconned my whole perspective on that book of who they were fighting, and I was like, this is amazing. Now I have more details.
That
So
man, you've already sold me. I need to check this out. I just added it to my Amazon cart here. That is it. The film, is it going to be live action or animated?
from what I
Have they
understand,
said?
live action.
Okay.
So, but
Ooh,
like
you got me.
it's a great series. The
Okay.
the author is fantastic. She's dope. She like the her author photo in the first book. She's in like a cow costume because she said she told her friend that's what it would be when she got published. So like that's she's dope. She's on TikTok. She yeah, it's a fantastic. She took a promo photo of sitting on a bunch of her books of the first book, and she ended up selling the one that was like right underneath her,
Oh wow.
like as a thing. To like I don't remember if it was like a she sold it for like $400, like some stupid amount of money. Because obviously, because like she's attractive, so it's like some fucking creepoid bought it because she sat on it. So like, but it was
Morris
just
was
like
that character from Shang-Chi.
Morris. That's right.
Yes. Um,
Uh,
yeah, that's
I'm
interesting.
curious. So we were talking about the box office numbers for the MCU,
Yeah.
and I wanted to see How to Train Your Dragon because what we're 2 weeks in now.
Yeah.
Okay. 247 international. That's kind of split. And I think this is the important bit, right? Look at something like a How to Train Your Dragon. Granted, obviously not the same exact audience, but I think there is some crossover. You look at a movie like How to Train Your Dragon, there's actually more of the money is domestic than it is foreign. Whereas nine no, I'm going to say 100% of MCU movies, and I could be wrong about this, but I'm fairly confident. 100% of MCU movies, most of their money comes from overseas. There is
Mm,
something inherently missing that's hooking a bigger audience in America. Because an MCU movie will go 2 weeks without hitting 100 million in America.
right.
And I think that is something that is missing. Because, like, and I think so. We're gonna go a little esoteric here because I watch a lot of Secret Galaxy on YouTube, and Dan Larson does retrospectives on like a lot of old school properties and a lot of TV shows and toys and everything. And he's pointed out in several episodes that in Japan the kids don't need like a plot to play with toys. You could sell like they sold them what was it? Car Robo, which is like the precursor of Transformers. There was no show, there was no TV, there was no comic books, there was nothing. It was just like, here's some transforming robots, and they were like, bet. And in America, all these motherfuckers apparently need like instructions. They're like, here's the TV show, here's the good guys, here's the bad guys, smash them against each other. This is how they transform. Like, you got to tell them, otherwise, they don't want it. And I think there's a code that needs to be cracked because I think a lot more people are watching it overseas, especially in Asian countries, without the prompt of like needing a reason. Whereas it feels
Mm,
like a lot of even the self-styled fans of MCU here need a reason to go see it. And I'm like for me, I'm an X-Men fan. I'm gonna see every X-Men movie ever made. I'm gonna find something I'm gonna enjoy in every X-Men movie ever made. I think New Mutants, solid flick if it was a pilot movie for a TV series.
mm,
Imagine walking out of the last scene of that movie into an episode 3.
yeah.
That's heat. That's a good season of TV. That's a good season of TV. Even though they butchered one of my favorite characters of all time, one of my favorite X Men characters of all time, Cecilia Reyes. I love Ceci. Like, I'm so mad that they butchered her character. The whole time I'm like, oh, she's gonna like turn good, right? She's gonna turn good, right? And then I was like, no, she's a bitch the whole time, and I fucking hate her. And I'm like, and I literally halfway through the movie, I'm like, all right, this is their interpretation. It doesn't change my character. My Ceci is still awesome. Like, I was just so mad because I'm like, you just don't understand this character. Like you've ruined this character. Like the representation of this character. And it was, and she was an Afro Latina. Like there's just like a lot of reasons that I didn't like the representation. Because like the look, the braids, like the New York swagger, like her comic book portrayal is so fucking dope. I loved her from the first scene she was in. It was just like she was the badass doctor, and then just became like the badass doctor for the X-Men. All the like, ah, God, there's an issue with Daredevil where she's like, "B, I don't care who the fuck you are. Take your shit off. I can't work on you if your mask is on. Like, I don't fucking care." And I was like, yes, like it's just like her whole thing. Like, I love Ceci. So like, but like that movie like really took a bad turn to her character. But like I still
Mm.
found reason to like that movie. There's like badass moments, like magic popping in the like just like I'll be back. Pops into fucking limbo. I was like, no, what the fuck? So just like there's just dope moments in that movie. So I'm gonna watch every X-Men thing ever. I'm gonna read every X-Men thing ever. My goal is to have every X-Men appearance in collected edition.
Oh wow.
Period. Period. Every X-Men
Nice.
character. Period. And so like I'm an X-Men fan. Like what I can't stand as an X-Men fan is when people are like, "Oh, this run sucked. I would never read that again." This I'm like, "Yeah, but like it's X-Men." like I don't get it. I don't understand. What do you mean you don't want it? What do you mean it's not good enough? It's X-Men. It's all good enough. You can
Mm.
have
Yeah.
opinions, we could dissect it. And like I said before, we could nitpick the shit out of anything. You could take
Right.
the best movie and be like, well, this and this and this and this and this, right?
Yes.
We can take the best movies and do that. It's like there's a giant man and an Ant-Man on screen at the same time in Endgame. But we all love that movie, but there's a glaring plot hole. Like
Yes.
it's like
Yeah.
there's we can dissect and we can fuck with anything that's great.
100%.
But like that's why I don't understand like these people who are like, oh, I'm a Marvel fan, I'm an MCU fan, but I need a reason to go see. What the fuck do you mean you need a reason? Go see the
Yeah.
fucking movie. Like
And like I said, it used to be an event where you're like, "Oh, the new Marvel movie's out." Like I would get people at work talking about it, people who are not comic readers. And now in 2025, I feel like I only am talking to people who like comics that are excited about new MCU stuff and new like the DC stuff, the James Gunn stuff. So I'm like, man,
I think the
my
general
level,
audience has fallen off.
and I feel like a lot of people are like, "Oh, it's superhero fatigue." And to me, it's okay movie fatigue. Like these are it's I don't think it's a superhero thing because look at Deadpool and Wolverine. Like look at the box office for that. And that was last year. I think this Fantastic Four and Superman movies are both going to do well. I don't think people are worn out on superheroes. Like I don't think that is going to happen. And I don't want to never say never, but I really feel like it's the product that we've been getting that has, and that was my thing about the Riri Williams. Like most of the stuff we're getting is okay, and people's expectation is if it's not better than Endgame, like why am I going to go see it?
That's the problem. And I think
Yeah,
that's the true problem is the
they
I don't
set
call
the bar too high.
I don't want to call them fair weather fans, but like it's they kind of are, right? It's like the people who,
Yeah.
you know,
Hmm.
follow a season of football or baseball or
Yes.
whatever when the team is winning.
Right.
Oh, the Bears are winning, so I'm watching. Okay, but like if you're a Bears fan, you're watching.
Right. 100%.
If you're a Bears fan, you're there for the ups and the downs.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like when I was
Yeah.
watching the Cubs, I was excited when they won and I was mad when they lost. You know, and I even got into it with my little superstition. I'm like, oh, who's pitching? I can't listen to this one. I can't watch this one because when I watch it, he's pitching, he doesn't do well. But when I don't watch, he does great. So like, you know, I even had my own little shit. But like when you're a fan, you are part of that. You're in it, and I think the mediocreness, not even say the mediocreness, but like I think a lot of people are swayed easily. So I think a lot of people saying, "Oh, it's mid, it's not great." It's like right, but it doesn't need to be great for it to be worthy, for it to be entertaining, right? At the end of the day, you want a movie that's entertaining. I think Captain
Yes.
America was an entertaining movie. From a narrative perspective, I think it did a lot of great things. I love a villain that is not CGI fight scene. I love a villain that's not what he's been playing 3D chess this whole time, and now it's just this man just walks through secure areas. I'm like, that's terrifying.
Yes.
That's the kind. That was like the birth of the thinking villain in the MCU for me, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I
Yeah.
mean, Thunderbolts is a great movie in that moment where they like fight to save their friend, and it's a great climax. The moment of that movie that makes that movie for me is Yelena leaning forward and says, "We own you now. You know that, right?" And then her whole face changes. Her whole face changes. I'm like, yeah, this is the narrative shit I'm talking about.
Right.
And that's why the post credit scene pissed me the fuck off. That should have been the post credit scene for Fantastic Four.
Mm.
That should have been the post credit scene for Fantastic Four because it should have been like, yo, why are we watching what? Why are the Thunderbolts here all of a sudden? What the hell's happening? Right? That should have been the moment. And you're like, wait, what's because it should have been the explosion, and you're like, oh shit, they died? That's how you're gonna end the movie? What the fuck? Because now we know they something happens, there's an explosion, and they go off into a portal. Like we know how the movie ends, and that's what pissed me off. Or you could have at least left it in the background. And or it's like, hold on, let me zoom in, and then you just see their faces. Don't
Right.
show me the four. Now I know how the movie ends.
Mm.
Like
Yeah, I'm curious about that. And but I do this to myself all the time. I will set myself up to be like, oh, they're not going to do that because it's too obvious that they're going to do that. And then that's exactly what it turns out. And I'm like, oh man, I'm of the opinion, or I guess I'm so optimistic that I'm like, that Fantastic Four is going to be, they're setting us up for something else. Like it's going to be something different. That was Doctor Doom in the ship, or that was something else. Like but I think
oh,
it's
it
going to
could be.
be exactly what we think it's going to be. Like it,
I think they're
oh
gonna
man.
play. I think they're gonna play Doom as I don't want to say like the omnipresent Secret Wars Doom right off the bat, but I think it's gonna get pretty close pretty fast. Ah, fuck, I just figured it out. Ah, I'm a writer. Like I'm a writer, right? I'm a writer because I was like, how does he get to that power level? And I'm like, well, what's the thing? Doom is done in every fucking iteration. He steals the Silver Surfer's powers. So
That's going to be
what happens?
the end of the
He
movie.
shows up out of nowhere in Fantastic Four, steals the Silver Surfer's powers. Silver Surfer doesn't get to stop Galactus. Galactus destroys the world. Fantastic Four like follow him into a portal or something. Boom.
That's it. Hmm.
Well, if that's
Yeah.
sorry if I ruined the food. If that's correct, I apologize if I ruined this film for you. Holy shit, dude! But it's like I said, I'm a writer. I can come up with stuff. But like
You know what? I want you to come on my show and review Fantastic Four when that movie is
a
out
hundred
in the
percent,
theaters.
a hundred
Let's
percent.
do, and we'll see if your prediction was correct.
That'd be great.
To
That'd
see
be
what
great, dude.
comes out of that. But yeah, I really think if they can just land the Fantastic Four and make it, and X-Men as well, like if they can just make those two things,
But
they will
X
set
Men is post
themselves.
Secret Wars, right? X Men is like
Yes, yes,
X Men
and
is
they
like they're
will.
just still like figuring stuff out.
Right. Because what's crazy is they announced the director, but they kind of like it's a rumor, but it's not official. Like I'm seeing all these different
I
reports
can't
of
stand like the rumor mill for the MCU is way too
yeah,
heavy. Oh my
yeah.
god, I can't even be in some Facebook groups because it's like oh rumor, and I'm like yeah,
Yeah,
it says rumor, so like why do I
yeah,
care?
yeah,
There's
yeah.
been a
That's
million rumors that weren't true. Remember
yeah.
when it was
I'm
Mephisto? It was all
yeah.
Mephisto the whole time. Like
Who is gonna be in Ironheart? I don't know what is like. Is he just gonna be a gag? Is he gonna be
what do you mean he's gonna be an
impactful?
Ironheart?
He's been cast. Sacha Baron Cohen is playing him in Ironheart. Um, so
You know what's fucked up? I actually like that casting. I don't
he's
really like Sacha Baron Cohen, but for Mephisto, I like that casting a lot.
and is he only going to appear in Ironheart, or is he going to be in the
No, if they're
greater?
man, but here's the thing, right? So the whole premise here, the reason that Mephisto wasn't part of it is because they don't want to talk about demons, and because they don't want to lose the Chinese market. That's a big factor.
Mm,
They don't. That's
yes,
like they don't want
yes.
demons. They don't want demons in their shit. Witches was even like a no thing. I don't think. I don't
Mm.
think WandaVision got released over there. I don't think Agatha got released over there.
I mean, that
Uh,
makes sense. Yeah.
and yeah, I want to say
Mm.
they renamed her in the Chinese market from Multiverse of Madness. So I don't think she was
Yeah.
Scarlet
Dang.
Witch. I think she was, you know what I'm saying? Like I think that she had a
Wow.
different
That's
name.
interesting.
Because
Yeah,
like
that's
there was that
interesting.
was that was part of the reason, from what I understand. I mean, I could be wrong here, but like from what I understand, that is what kind of the reasoning of him not being around was that they didn't want to like set him up as a player. So that'll be interesting. I mean, but maybe the rules have changed. Like, you know, things are different now. There's
Yeah.
tariffs and shit. I don't know what's going on with this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe if you pay
100%.
enough money to the Chinese government, you can bring in demons.
Yeah.
You can bring
I
in Mephisto. Like, but like
yeah.
I think, but like as soon as you said Sacha Baron Cohen and Mephisto, it immediately made me think of the Jason Aaron run on Avengers.
Ooh.
Immediately, that's him. That like kind of like overdone little bit like he's doing like weird poses just to be intimidating. Like I like that. I like that.
Yeah. I want to see what like I said, how is he going to
They could,
play into it?
my God, they could do a if they could do a reverse. They could do a reverse one more day. A reverse one more
Ooh.
day. So Brand New Day
Ooh.
ends with Peter Parker making a deal with Mephisto to bring back like to make his friends know him
Remember.
again.
Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting. I
Ooh.
wonder.
But then
Yeah,
what is
because
he?
it
Oh, what's the payment? You know, say, oh, it
right.
could be interesting.
Yeah.
It could be
Yes.
interesting.
Yes. I'm hoping, like I said, I'm like you. I am like my glasses have full on a lot of these things, and I want them to be good, and I will not judge them until they come out.
Of course.
Like a lot of people are like, oh, they've already written off. I'm not. I'm gonna. Here's another thing. The movie's gonna be on streaming next month, so why should I even go out to the theater and see this?
That's oh my God, dude. Can we like let's really talk about that. They've destroyed the streaming shit has destroyed the second run theater.
Yeah.
Can I tell you every story my wife tells me about her childhood is going to the second run theater with her parents.
Mm.
Every single one. Every notable story she tells me about her childhood is going to the second run theater. So like people, I was still going to the second run theater. I miss it sometimes. I don't quite catch it. Hey, let's go see this. Or it was like, I don't know. I don't want to pay $15, but like eight, I'll pay eight.
Yeah.
Like it's certain thing, and it's like you still make money off that.
Yeah.
So like I remember when it was 6 months to get a DVD. And then it became 3 months to get a DVD. And then when like somebody would be like 4 months, you'd be like, what the hell? It's 3 months to get a DVD. And then it was like 45 days. I'm like, 45 days in theaters is crazy. That's not enough time to make money.
Yeah. That's kind of
But
like that.
then you're like banking on like everyone just being like, oh shit, I gotta go see it. But it's
Well,
like,
that's where
I have
we're
a
at.
70-inch TV.
Right.
Why do I
That's
need and like it's got like AI sound and shit. It sounds like I'm in the fucking screen. Like it's I don't even know what it's
yeah.
got. Like it's super strong. But like, why do I need to go to the theater?
Right.
So if you want me to experience that, you got to give me the most opportunity to see experience that. Because otherwise, if I
Right.
just got to wait 45 days to see it on Disney Plus, I'm gonna just wait because you already charged me a shit ton of money for that.
Right.
Like,
And yeah, man, there that is a huge like
and it's like
can of worms.
they all complain about it, right? All the like the Hollywood, well, the theaters are dying. Like we need to do something about theaters. Stop fucking putting it on streaming in 45 days.
Right. Give us a reason to go to the
Yeah,
theater
yeah.
and not
Make it exclusive to theaters for
yes.
6 months.
Right. And that
Bring
makes
back
those
the second run.
events. Right.
Yeah, bring back the second
That
run because then you give people a chance to have conversations about it. Because we
yes.
don't,
That's
we're not all in in the office anymore. We're not like the world is different. You can't
yes.
expect the same behavior in 2016 in 2025.
Yeah. That's the same thing of the binge model versus the weekly episodic. It's like you drop the whole thing at once, and then in order for me to not get spoiled, because these guys are watching at midnight and watching the entire series and dropping the ending. I gotta force myself to watch. I mean, Andor was dropping 3 episodes a week for Star Wars, and I'm like, I don't want to be spoiled. I do a podcast, like I want to talk about these things. What If was the same way, where it was like Disney was dropping What If every day,
Dude,
and
what
it's
if happened
like,
so fast I missed it? Like,
yeah,
I still haven't
like
watched season three. I missed
there's
it. Like,
yeah, there's no water cooler conversation. And that's the same thing, like you're saying with the movies, where everything is opening weekend, like all the marketing, everything is opening weekend, and then I never hear about these movies again. It's like, what happened to?
they're all making a lot of stuff. They're all trying to promo. It's like shit on top of each other. It's like
Yeah,
y'all motherfuckers are rich. You don't need this money that bad.
right,
Like, chill.
right.
If you give me two great Pedro Pascal projects a year, talk about it for 4 months. Talk
Yes,
about it for
yes,
6 months.
yes.
Because you gonna get me to go see it. Because if you end up on Hot Ones, if you end up on a podcast I like, I'm going to see this movie. Because you're
Right.
gonna say something that I'm gonna be like, oh wait, man, okay. Like,
Yes.
even if it's not something that was like right up my alley, like, can I tell you, I haven't the marketing has changed so much that like I haven't seen a movie in theaters outside of my like preferred genre probably 7 years.
Dang. Yeah.
Like, I haven't, besides a couple exceptions, and that's just because we did this. There's a thing where you can like see a movie before it comes out. My wife signs up
Oh,
for it, so then we end up going to see it. So we ended up
nice.
seeing. Um, See, I don't even remember the name of the film, but it was a movie based on a true story of a woman who like did a bunch of research into like the Holocaust, and like it was like Holocaust racism and like all this stuff. And it was like kind of like spiraled out of 2020 and all the
Oh, wow.
everything of 2020. So like,
Yeah.
but it was like a true story, and I would never have picked that movie honestly, just because like I'm not a huge fan of like biopics. So like
Mm,
I wouldn't have picked that, but like we went to see it, right? There was so that we saw a couple movies that way where I was like, I definitely would not have been a pick,
mm.
but like I'm glad I saw it.
Yeah.
So, but like I don't even have the opportunity to see, like, if I don't seek out trailers, I don't see trailers for anything outside of my genre
Yeah.
because it's all algorithmic now.
Right.
It's not even you're watching a channel and hey, like people are watching this block of TV and it's like this comedy show and and we're gonna put on a trailer for this comedy movie and this romantic comedy, and like so like people get their options. It's like, no, I if I'm watching Disney Plus, I'm seeing trailers for Marvel movies, maybe DC movies, or
Right.
like other heavy sci-fi.
Right.
Those are the only trailers I see.
Yeah.
I stumbled across a little kind of like a coming of age little rom com thing. It was called stupid fucking name. I'm still mad at the name, honestly. When it finished, I was like, "What was the name of this movie?" And then it like that came up on the screen, and I was like, "That's a stupid name for the movie." Because I had finished it, and I was like, "I like the movie, but like that's a dumb name." It's called
Mm.
Candy Jar, and like there is like a conversation about candy, but there's no conversation about a candy jar. So it's like it's not even referential to the movie. Like I hate that.
Huh.
But like
That's weird.
it's like a fun little coming of age, like two partners in debate, and like they're like kind of like they've known each other since they were kids, and it's like this whole thing, and they're like trying to get into college, and it's like kind of like an old school feel good movie. Like it's a fun movie. It's not like it hits some emotional stuff like out of nowhere that I wasn't expecting because they're both being raised by single mothers, and it's like, are we going to address that? And then like we do, and then it's like, oh shit, okay, just hit
Ah.
right in the heart. All right, like it's just right in the heart. All right, but it's a good movie. Like it's a solid flick. It's a Netflix, But it was like it wouldn't have come up if I don't like spend a ton of time on YouTube
Right.
watching like I'll watch like one of those like every movie coming out in the next 6 months trailers.
Oh, right.
So it's
Right.
like a 3 hour thing or
Yeah.
whatever. So I'll just sit down and watch that sometimes. So that's like because of that, it recommends me random trailers sometimes.
Mm.
But like even on YouTube, most of the time it's like, here's this sci-fi show. Like I still haven't watched it, but I knew about the J-Lo sci-fi movie on Netflix for like
Oh, yeah.
months. Nobody knew about that movie except me,
I forgot
apparently.
about that.
I told
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
I was like, J Lo's doing a fucking, she's got like a mech and shit. Like this looks awesome.
I saw
They're
that and then
like,
I forgot about it.
J-Lo? I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Man, that's crazy. I I'm curious. Right now, I'm looking at the top 10 highest grossing films of 2025. Now, we're at the halfway mark right
Right.
now. We're
Of
halfway through the year.
2025. Okay.
Captain America is 6. Brave New World is at 6. Thunderbolts is at 7. How to Train Your Dragon is at 9.
Well,
Do
it
you
just
think,
came out, to be fair.
yeah. Do you think, well, that's kind of my point is, do you,
2025. What's number one as of right now?
you will never know. This blew my mind. You will never guess what is, you might guess number 2. You will not guess number 1, 100%. What do
Mission
you think
Impossible
is,
out? No, Mission Impossible was not out yet.
yeah,
It
Mission
is?
Impossible, The Final Reckoning
It's
is at
two?
number 4.
Four. Oh, okay.
It's
Damn.
at 500,000 right now. Lilo and Stitch is at number 3,
Shocking.
872.
Shocking. I heard no talk of that when it came out, so I thought it flopped. I honestly thought it flopped.
I
Um,
Yeah. Well, you
wow.
okay, for sure you will get number 2. Think about like broad like what were the memes? Like what were people um there was a bunch of ruckus caused in theaters this year about
Oh my
people.
God. I wouldn't want this to be the top. Ah, God, two. Number
That
two, really?
and that's almost at a billion. It is at 954,000
Damn.
right now. So Warner Brothers made out huge
Minecraft.
on that one.
Jesus.
Uh the number one movie of 2025 is uh the second fastest film to gross $2 billion. It
In
is
2025? 2
it
billion?
right now it's at 2.2 billion. This is a Chinese movie. It
Oh.
is the sequel to a animated Chinese movie that I'd never heard of the first one. And now the second one is one of the highest. This is one of the highest grossing movies of all time. It is the highest grossing animated movie of all time. It is the fifth highest grossing film of all time. It is
What?
called, I'm going to butcher the pronunciation, Ni Zhao 2, Ni Zhe 2. Never heard of the first one, like I said, never heard of this one. It is now the fifth highest grossing film of all time. So nothing is going to catch that. I don't think Superman, Fantastic Four, nothing is going to catch
Oh,
Ni's.
but it's not a, it didn't release domestically, did it?
No. Oh, well, in China. I don't know if it came out here.
Oh, okay, okay.
Um,
So you're talking about worldwide, but
yeah,
still,
this is
that's
the
worldwide.
worldwide highest grossing films in 2025. Um, yeah, domestic, I'm sure. Um, well, Minecraft's number one, obviously, for um, 954,000.
I mean, yeah, no, I wouldn't have guessed that, obviously.
Yeah. But, well, my question to you
But so
for the
Minecraft is
rest of the
not so
year,
of domestic stuff. I mean, Superman has like from American made
it'll
films.
be in the top 10
I
for sure.
I genuinely think the DC Studios film library is so precarious. If Superman does not make $1 billion, I think I think you can quickly expect to see projects that were talked about just stop being talked about.
That would make me very sad.
It would make me extremely sad. But I think that because I think the DC film library is so precarious because of the Snyderverse. I I'm hoping that this like manufactured outrage from the Snyder Bros. You've heard about this? Have you heard about this?
Yes.
They're
Uh-huh.
actually threatening to boycott the movie and like pre-reserved tickets so people can't buy them and downvote and
And
all
not,
this.
yeah.
It's you know what's funny? I thought the treatment of the Marvels and Captain Marvel was bad. Somehow this is worse.
Yes,
And
they found a way.
you would think that a movie headlining three women, two of them women of color, would be the worst a movie could be treated. But no, the one with the white man.
Yes.
is the one
That
that's gonna be ruined the most. It's
that blows my mind. Like I
people.
never,
These Snyder Bros are fucking crazy.
yeah, was not on my
I
bingo card.
when I saw it was just like somebody posting about it, and they were like, "These people are nuts." And I read the like post, and I was just like a manifesto, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"This is crazy. This is
I
true insanity."
I just saw that like within the last week I saw somebody talking about that and I was like, I mean, I for the most part I try to not like the Snyder Bros are
Yeah,
off my radar, but I saw
yeah, I
this and
don't
I
see
was
it.
like, this doesn't make any sense to me. Do you think Fantastic Four makes the top 10?
100%, 100%. I think, and I think if it's good, I think it makes top five.
Yes, yes.
I think it's top five if it does good because I think Pedro Pascal was a great choice for brand name. I think people want to go see Pedro Pascal. I think he has curated his image in such a way that he is so appealing to the broad spectrum of humans that like women love him. It's like women want to be with him, men want to be him, and he's done it in such a way like we haven't seen this kind of personal curation in Hollywood in a long fucking time, a
It's
long fucking
crazy.
time.
Think about 5 years ago, 2020, he was in Wonder Woman 1984. Think about that Pedro Pascal versus 2025 Pedro
And
Pascal.
he
Like,
went out of that into Mandalorian.
yeah, like that whoever his publicist is, like whoever's
Mind you,
making
I think he did a good job in that movie.
right. I liked him. I
I
liked him
think
in
he
that
did a
movie.
good job in the movie. I think the problem with that movie was the movie.
Yeah,
like, like that movie was so unenjoyable. And
yeah,
I'm not even going to say bad because there was good stuff in that movie, but I think that movie was so unenjoyable that when it hit me in the dad shit, when like the kid comes out and I was like, he hasn't cared about him this whole time, but they got a tear out of me, and I was fucking pissed. And I was like, you didn't deserve that tear.
How dare you draw this emotion from me?
Like it was just like you
Yeah,
didn't care about this kid the entire time. Now suddenly he's your lifeline. That doesn't make
right,
sense. Like
right,
if the whole time he had been like, oh man, I'm just trying to do like I'm just trying to give you a good life. Like, if just that, give me like two scenes of that. No, it was just like fucking get out of here. Get out. I'm doing shit. Get out of here. And then
right.
oh now all of a sudden he cares. Like that's not a thing. Like this is bad writing. And also I'm just not here for the Wonder Woman essay.
Mm.
Just like, oh yeah, like I summoned my like dead boyfriend into like this unsuspecting stranger, and then we just like used his body to our whims.
Yeah, there was a
It's
lot of
fucking weird.
problematic things about that.
Fucking weird. Like
Yeah,
and then just like no one really wanted to talk about it.
yeah.
That was
It was
kind of the other thing that was like I'm not a big like I'm not at all the like fucking manosphere kind of
mhm,
dude.
right.
I fucking hate those people so much. But like it's like what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Like I fully believe that. I'm an equal right person. If we're going to talk about what is problematic when male characters behave a certain way, we have to talk about the same when female characters behave the same way.
100%. That was
I
not a good look.
I was just like, what?
Mm-mm.
I was like, isn't that just some dude? Like, I was like, what is happening right now? Like it was
Yeah,
just so uncomfortable.
there's a ton of things that are problematic about that.
Yeah,
And
but
they
like
had so much goodwill from that first Wonder Woman
the
movie to the
first one
second
was
one.
so freaking good. I love that movie.
Mm.
I love that movie. She
Squandered.
herself has like, real life problematic stuff, but like the film itself was great. And it's like,
Yeah.
it's one of those things that just like the, what's the meme? There's never been a worse downgrade. Like it's like Wonder Woman 1 to Wonder Woman 84. What the fuck?
Yeah.
It's
Man.
like never has there been a worse
Whew.
downgrade. Like what a difference. And it's like
And it was
people
like, yeah, it was like going into it, you were like, oh, Patty Jenkins is the same director, same, this
yeah,
is going to be good. Pedro Pascal, like adding all these things to it. Even Kristen Wiig, who I love from SNL and all the a lot of dramatic stuff that she's done. But that cheetah was not like
Ugh.
everything about the villains in the movie was just not good. I just didn't like this, and
And it's
from a
like, oh, we
narrative, like you
and it's
said,
like
not
fur is
not from a
hard to
cast
do, so
narrative.
we're gonna do it in like a dusk scene, so it's super dark and hard to see. Oh, this like godly armor that we're gonna set up the whole movie. Yeah, she rips it off of her like nothing. I'm like, what are you?
Yeah,
What?
yeah.
Like,
It was definitely story was the issue on that second movie.
yeah, no,
Um,
it's I love the first one. I really, really, truly enjoyed the first film. I think I wish they would have leaned more into. Did you ever read Wonder Woman Earth One? The, so like the
no,
Earth
I'm
One.
gonna
Did you read any of the Earth One books?
shoot. No, what was crazy is I saw him many times on my store shelves, and I was like, I should read that, and I never did.
You should check them out because they're sort of
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was thinking of Earth X for some reason. Yes, Earth
oh,
One. I read Batman and Superman, but I did not read the
okay.
Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman, it's like I wish they had leaned more into that. She's a little more boisterous. She's there's just like there's a outright scene of just like we're an island full of women. Like we do stuff. It was kind of like it was very much like we're not like unfamiliar with sex. Like we know what sex is. And they're like, oh wait, what?
You know what's funny? I just looked. I purchased that book, Wonder Woman, March of 2016, and I have not. I need to move this up the list here. So,
Shenanigans. See, this is why I roll
yeah.
dice. This is why I roll dice because I just went to a con yesterday. There's like four more books in there in this bag. There's too many books. And I'm very much like this was always my process before I started rolling. I'd look at it and be like, oh, that's a dope cover. Oh, I love that series. I've been meaning to read that. So like I just could never choose. I'd sit there for an hour and read nothing. Like I could have been reading the
Yeah.
whole hour. So that's
Yeah.
why I
That's
roll
like
dice, man.
yes. Okay. That 100% I need to move this up on my list. But yes, we need to do a Fantastic Four review once that
100%.
happens.
100%.
Um, man, now I'm even thinking about Ironheart. I kind of want to get your thoughts on Ironheart.
Oh, damn.
There
Yeah.
and they're dropping 3 episodes one week and 3 episodes the next week. So this is
Oh,
going to
it's a
be another one
sixer.
of those things. Yeah, that they I'm going to have to force myself to watch it so that because I don't want people spoiling it for me online. So I'm going to have to force myself.
Look, all I know is
But you don't do that.
I
You
love the
do you.
cast. No, no, no. I love the cast. Uh I Anthony Ramos is like I love Hamilton like to just like unhealthy degrees. Uh like we're truly, truly. Just like and uh his attitude in the first half and then he just like he has two different sets of attitude and like I've never seen I don't I've seen like live shows like I've seen like Broadway shows and stuff like that but like never have I seen where a person acts multiple characters and like him and his former fiance did they break up because
Ooh,
she because
yeah,
she
I don't
did
know.
they get because I thought they definitely they got engaged but I thought they broke up where like she played Peggy and then the like seductress. And it was just like in your head, but like the way she performed it, two different characters. She was two different people. Just like
Ah, he did split with her.
just like him at the beginning and then him playing the son and then Diggs of course Diggs is like one of my favorite rappers now like I found out he's got a back catalog I loved it like if I could sit down with David Diggs man just like chop it up with him for a minute like that dude is so fucking dope you ever seen Blind Spotting watch that fucking movie watch that movie
Blind
that's
spotting.
his movie and then they did a series on Amazon following one of the other characters but him and Rafa Casal, who's his like
Oh,
buddy. But like you want to see Jimmy Woo? Jimmy Woo? Was it Park? I always forget. I'm terrible with
yeah.
names.
Dang it.
Uh,
I could see his face in my head.
Jimmy Woo did a fucking. They did like a when
Randall Park. Randall Park.
Randall Park.
Yes.
When Rafa got a new house, they did a fucking cipher, and he's in the cipher, dude. Him, motherfucking. Oh my god. Wayne Brady's in that cipher. Dude, it's such a dope. So like Randall Park
Okay.
recently did like a run of talk shows and stuff, and he did raps, and it was like,
Oh.
oh my god, like Randall Park can rap. I'm like, y'all late to the party. Look up the housewarming cipher, son. That's like
Oh
15
wow.
years ago. That's
Okay.
not maybe not 15, but like 10 years ago. It's still like, yeah, no, like, dude, yeah,
I need to look this up. Okay.
clipping, outstanding group. But like Diggs individual stuff, like he's got a mixtape from a while back. There's a track called oh my god, I'm so bad with names, dude. It's frustrating.
I, I'm getting the
Small
same
thing
way.
to a giant. Small thing to a giant.
Okay.
Dude, that song is bars. Fucking love that song. But like that whole mixtape, that whole project is so good. But like he's a great performer, but like yeah, him too. But like I loved watching them do the one character and then have a completely like different shift into a different character.
Hmm.
So that's why like that was part of it, and like it uses a lot of like comedy, uh, mechanics, like the
Yeah.
callbacks of the other songs are so like you could like ask my wife about this as I watched it the first time, and like they started calling back to earlier songs and earlier numbers. Dude, that shit gets me so much. That's why, like, when I watch a comedy stand up, if it ends with a callback to the first joke, you have complete, like, you, in my eyes, you've
Yes.
successfully completed
Yes.
the
Yes.
special. Like,
Yes.
but I've seen so many specials that just like end on kind of like an okay joke. And I'm like,
Yeah.
nah, where's the callback? Where's the,
Yeah. And they'll drop the mic and say, no, you did not earn that mic
nah,
drop, sir.
nah, don't do that. Don't do that.
Or
Yeah.
ma'am. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's just like
I'm with you.
I love a good callback when you, and it's just like Kevin Hart has that great one where he like tells that story about going horseback riding, and then at the end he does the fucking yeah, like I was like fuck.
Yes. Yeah. Anytime somebody does that, I'm like,
So yeah, that's
I
why I love
lose it.
that.
Yes.
That's why I love
Yes.
that. So that's why back to my original point. That's why I love Anthony Ramos. And he also
Yeah.
did a great job in Transformers.
I loved
I
him in Transformers.
I'm
Yeah.
so salty. They're probably not going to continue that universe, and it's like I hated that, and because like Hasbro doesn't want to finance any more films,
Ah, man.
and then they've also sold off the toy rights for Power Rangers. So what's the other one? I forget one of the
Oh,
other
shoot.
companies. The company that
Yeah.
makes like Ninja Turtles. Uh,
Oh, yeah.
Ma-
Dang, now I'm
Not
forgetting.
Mattel.
Yeah.
Whatever. Well, yeah, but they
Who
sold
else?
it to one of
Yeah.
the other companies.
Right.
So they're going to be making the toy. So there's a whole new Power Ranger toy line coming,
Ah,
and it's like Hasbro's just like making financial decisions, and this is why I like hate. This is why I hate corporations that are so
yeah.
big that like don't understand the business. Because
Right.
it's like up here, like at a certain CEO level, you're looking at numbers and it's just math for you. Then it's like you need to understand the business better. Because it's like at some point, right, somebody at Disney is going to be like, hey, these Marvel projects aren't making us money. We should
Hmm.
stop making or whatever, right? And it's going to be like, oh, we're only making so many percents of dollars. And it's all going to be about numbers. And that's how they're going to make a decision of whether to green light the next whatever
Yeah.
or not, as opposed to like, hey, maybe we need to do a better job merchandising and like
Right.
making the money off of the thing than the thing itself.
Right.
Like you go back into the 90s, the Spider-Man animated series is not what made Marvel money. The fucking massive Toy Biz toy line was,
Yes.
because they're like, hey, we're just gonna buy Toy Biz, and now we make all our toys, and now we're just gonna be cashing checks. Because they were
Yes.
like, Hydro Man's in an episode, 5 Hydro Man toys. Now we have water jumping Spider Man and whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got like, I feel like in the '90s, and this kind of like, I don't know if this is nostalgic. It's funny because like I came out of the '90s. I came out of a war in the '90s, like from I'm from the Balkans, so like the Balkan Wars happened in the '90s, so like that's where I was founded. So like my entertainment was like my escape, and so of course that colors my perspective. But I
Yes.
also truly like from an adult perspective, looking back on it and the way things were done, um, how merchandising was done, how marketing was done, and how the entertainment itself was done, I think was just done better. I think there's no better example of that than X-Men. X-Men 97, hugely popular because that original series was great. That original
Yes.
series was done to make the show. It wasn't done necessarily, it really wasn't done to sell toys. But what they did was like, all right, so now we have this. Let's just make a bunch of toys because we also have this back catalog of comic book stuff. We could just make whatever toys we want and sell the shit out of these toys to these kids that are watching the show. So it was just like
Yes.
they had us for 5 years. They could have
Yes.
they put out so many goofy ass toys. I bought some of them. I have a storm with like a missile projectile thing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's you buy, like, we had all these toys that had nothing to do with the show. Look at Batman the Animated Series. I guarantee you, Warner Brothers made more money off of that from selling the merchandising than they ever made off the money that the licensing from Fox or whoever had it.
Oh yeah.
Ever.
Yeah. Hmm.
Because they made every Batman variant you could think of.
Right.
Nighttime Batman, daytime
Yes.
Batman, underwater Batman,
Yes.
space
I was about to
Batman. It
say,
was
yeah.
like,
Snow Batman. Yeah.
yeah, snow,
A hundred
yeah.
percent.
Was it the was it
Like ice powered
yeah,
Batman or something.
everything,
Yeah.
just everything.
Yeah.
So it's like that's the point is make your money elsewhere. And I think
Right.
they've lost that now. I think now they're just like, we're making this thing, give us the money for this thing. We don't want to put the effort into making this a broader experience. And I
Yeah.
think maybe that's part of why they don't, to kind of go back to an earlier point, they have this short window post movie because they don't have a lot of merchandise.
Right.
Like,
Yep.
yeah, you get a Lego set maybe once in a while, maybe a figure set, maybe, but like the toy sets aren't big anymore. They're not really advertising to kids like they used to, so the toy sets don't make them the money they need. So like, I just think they don't want to innovate in the space because I think there's lots of things to be done. You could do some cheap one shots and like get some YouTube ad revenue out of it. Like put some additional content. Remember when the Spider-Man movies came out? Or I'm sorry, when the during the MCU there was a series of like YouTube shorts that were like news reports. And it was the news reporter
Yes.
from the Iron
Yes.
Man movies.
Hmm.
She
Yes.
was doing her thing, and it was like she was reporting the news. It was just like her at a green screen. Cost
Yeah.
nothing. It cost
Right.
nothing.
Yeah.
And it was just like you put that on there and you could make these little references. And I don't know, they just feels like a lack of creative effort. Because I feel like you could also bring in, like you're asking why they're doing Mephisto and what they're gonna do with him. I think they the interpersonal dynamics of Kevin Feige and fucknuts Ike Perlmutter, uh
Oh. Hmm.
that whole like interpersonal dynamic
Yeah.
has caused them to like kind of turn their blind eye to like some of the stuff that was made. And I was like, right, but like you could just say, hey, Hellstrom happened. Hellstrom as a show happened. And now we can bring in Damon Hellstorm. And
Yeah.
we can bring, like, there's all these characters that they have established.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing that I feel like we're missing from the current run of MCU. We don't have a through line.
Yes. a
In
hundred
the
percent.
original run, we had
Yes.
Shield. We had Shield in some way giving us a through line. And now
Yes.
it's like, here's all these things. And now we have to kind of like force the connect.
Right.
We have to force, like, oh, at the end of Eternals, this dude shows up. He's Thanos' brother. Okay. All right. Here's our, right. It's like he literally needed to be announced.
Right.
Like, and is that ever going to pay off? Who the fuck knows?
Right.
So it's like, but I think they just say, hey, Agents of Shield is canon. You could say the last seasons are time travel. Like it all washes itself. And it's like, again, if you go back to this like sacred timeline thing, everything they did was self-perpetual, so they were always doing what they were supposed to be doing. Nothing was crazy that was created, and like we don't need to talk about anything that was like done because essentially it happened. They took care of it, so no one else knows about it. Oh, there was like
Right.
the graviton thing. Like, well, cool, yeah. But no one else knows about that because they solved it. They solved it before it became a problem.
Right.
So like that's why no one else talks about it. So that's to me like you just say that, and now Shield's back, and you can bring in Mac. Mac is the new Nick Fury, right? And then you could have like a little back and forth between sword and shield. Like
Yes.
there's just ways to do this that I think they don't want to take the time to just like narratively explain. Because it's like
Yeah.
when you set up the Darkhold in Agents of Shield, why aren't we just touching base on that and when we bring it into the like movies?
Right.
You set it up. You can even say, and even in the comics they say there's multiple copies. Cool, that was just a copy. Like it's just there's ways to do it that I think there's ways to connect it all, and they're not hard. They're like, and it doesn't make it required watching, right? But
Right.
like if you want, it's just like you don't have to read every Marvel comic book. But like if you want to know why Daredevil is in this X-Men comic and why he's injured, well then you do gotta. But if you don't care about that, you know he showed up. You're following Cecilia's story in this issue. She went back to her hospital to try to be a doctor again. Daredevil shows up. He needs somebody to patch him up. All right, cool. This is just the connected world. This is like you said earlier. This is the broader world. This is the point of it. If you watch Daredevil, then watch the show, and Daredevil just for a moment shows up on another show like Echo. That just means we're in the same universe.
Yes.
We don't need a connected story. This doesn't
Right.
need to end in a new Defenders, season.
Right.
It can, but it doesn't need to. It's
Yeah.
just like, hey, we're all here.
Yeah. I think they took the wrong lessons from a shared universe. This is one thing that I always think about. Those Jessica Alba, Chris Evans, Fantastic Four movies in
I like
the
those.
early 2000s. I always was like, can I just see Spider-Man swinging in the background?
That's what I'm
I know
saying.
it's, yeah, I know it was Fox and Sony and all these other ones, but just uh, a shot of another character to set up it's a shared universe and never talk about it. Like I don't need I don't need them to go over and say, "Hey, Spider-Man, what are you doing over there?" Like, but he's there. We know he's there. The fans would go crazy if they saw that, and then that would, that's the end of it. Just set up an establishment
X-Men
of
the
the
animated
universe.
series. Again, back to when it was done better. X-Men the animated series. Phoenix loses her shit, becomes Dark Phoenix. Psychic shockwave, whirlwinds and shit. Spider-Man's hand pulls somebody out of the danger. That's it. You didn't even
Yes.
see his full body. It was just
Yeah.
his hand. He pulled someone out of danger, and then we went to the next little cameo. And
Yes.
there was Reed Richards turning around. Wait, what is this? And then we went to the next camp. That's it. You don't need to have some massive thing. And I think that's the problem that they're having is like it's not going to cost you like if you had let's say in Ironheart, a big factor of it early on of the Ironheart story was having a Tony Stark hologram. If you just had a 30-second message because let's say he knew about her, just like in the comics, right? When she shows up, kind of out of nowhere, he's like, "Yeah, I've been watching you,"
Yeah.
because he's Tony.
Yes.
He's
Yeah.
he's got a million projects. So she gets a notice. She gets a hey, you got a package, and it says from Tony Stark. And I was like, wait, what the fuck? And it's just him. You pay Robert Downey Jr. what 5 G's to just sit there in front of a green screen for 2 minutes, record some like it's
Yeah.
you just it could, but they're not going to do that. They're not going to
Yeah.
do that.
100%. Man, they, there's so much potential. There's so much they could do.
Yeah, there's so much potential, but I'm still hopeful. I'm excited for the show. Um, yeah, I'm glad that this became a bigger conversation than just the one run. I love having a chat with you
Yeah.
especially, man. But like comics, it gets me pumped, man. It gets me pumped.
Yeah.
And I've been out of it for so long. I just haven't been making stuff that when I saw that opportunity, I was like, boom. And then actually, I've scheduled another episode tonight. So I'm recording another episode
Yes.
tonight, doing
Yes.
an indie
Yes.
promotion thing. So I'm super super hyped today. Today's gonna be a big creative day for me.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
thank you so much for coming on, man. I
Yes.
appreciate your
Thank
time.
you.
You're super early
Yes.
too, so kudos to you, man. You jumped on this at 7 a.m. your time, so hats off to you,
Yes.
man.
Thank you very much for inviting me. I'm always pumped to talk comics. So this was a thrill for me.
I love that shirt. Is that some merch you're selling? What's going on?
Yes, I just started. This Comic Cooks is kind of my comic side of the Vactor Verse. So I've got shirts and I've got mugs. I've got all kind of stuff,
That's what's up.
stickers. So if you're interested, if you want a piece, this comic cooks on YouTube. It had a link. It'll have a link to all my stuff.
Bet. Awesome. That's fantastic. Sir, where can people find you on the social medias?
Yes. Most places you can find me at VactorVerse. The YouTube stuff, I have it segmented. I have a VactorVerse channel, but I also have a Star Wars channel, which is called Trust in the Force, and a comic book channel called This Comic Cooks. So those are the my places. I need to get like one central place, but right now I'm kind of spread out.
Got to get a website. Got to get a website.
Ooh, not a bad idea.
I can help you with that. I can help you with that. I need people to
Ooh,
reach
let's
out to me
talk.
more. I need people to
Yes,
reach out to me more
yes.
because I feel like there's some like lackluster websites out there for comics and need to do better.
Ooh, let's talk. Let's talk.
Definitely. All right. That's going to be it for this one, folks. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Make sure you watch Ironheart. Make sure you read the comics and make sure you check out your local comic shop because those are definitely always needing some support. Make sure you check out VactorVerse on everything. And of course, I am Dalibor Zujovic, the Indie Hype Man.
Yeah, I'm so lit, but a lonely spark. About to end game like Tony Stark. Told her go invite a friend, and I'll be at home coming like Spider-Man.